Alright, what's up? How's it going, guys? I am your host, Jacob Nestor. I came out to the world, but I'm back in the closet to discuss some movies. As always, I'm joined by my co host, Nick, the fucking birthday boy. Happy birthday!
Oh,
Yes,
yo, what's up? I'm getting older. It's
sir.
not looking good.
How old are
But
you?
I am
14 now?
21, so I can legally drink and smoke weed
We love to
on this
hear it.
podcast.
We
So
love to see it. We love to see it. We can
let's fucking
not
go.
feel taboo about talking about it anymore.
I never felt taboo about
No,
it,
I
but
know. That's the way she goes, but it's okay. We're
for that.
fucking here chilling. We're here to discuss some revenge movies. Of course, we're going to be talking about our top three revenge movies and then doing an in depth spoiler discussion on the 2004 movie Man on Fire. But before all that, of course, we're going to go into our notable watches section. Nick, you want to kick us off with what you've been watching recently?
Um, yeah. So I mentioned previously I was going through the Nightmare on Elm Street series
Mm-hmm.
and finishing it off because I never did.
Yeah.
Starting with 3 and 4 last week, and then I did 5, 6, 7, 8, and
Ooh.
9
Wow.
this week.
Fuck.
Um, and like I'm gonna be honest, the only two good ones were maybe 5 and definitely New Nightmare, which was essentially like a reboot.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, those movies are. There's not much to say other than like they're just cocaine filled horror adventures, and it's actually pretty fun every time Freddy's on screen. But everything else is kind of messy for the most part in every single movie.
Yeah.
The remake is honestly there's some really cool stuff about
Is
it
the remake New
visually.
Nightmare?
No, so New
Okay.
Nightmare is Wes Craven coming back with his property, and essentially this is 94, I want to say. And essentially, this is not a spoiler, but Freddy is come back to haunt Heather Langenkamp, who was Tina in the first movie.
Okay.
Uh, so it's like a super meta, like Hollywood. It's very strange, but it's really cool that Wes Craven was like he said fuck it and went like super Charlie Kaufman with his
Nice.
own characters with fucking Freddy Krueger. It's really cool.
That's
There's
fucking
some
cool.
really shitty like kid elements in that movie that almost made me like want to kill myself, but for the most part, like it's not terrible. But I don't know. There's just like a few moments where like I just wanted the kid to die in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Nice,
But
nice. That's fucking cool
um,
though. But
but and that was
overall,
definitely
overall the series
overall
is
overall
average.
pretty not good.
Yeah,
No,
not
I'm
good.
gonna. I'm just gonna say not too good.
Yeah.
I've actually never been the biggest fan of the original Nightmare.
Okay.
I don't know, but I do like Freddy in almost everything, and in fact, I think some of the kills get progressively better as the movies go
Nice.
on, except for like literally the last one that was made in the 90s. Um, but enough of that.
Yeah.
I also watched Sunshine for the first time.
Oh,
I've never
yes,
seen
yes.
this.
I
Have you seen
I
Sunshine?
so I don't like remember it. But I know I definitely watched it when I was younger because there's a few like kind of just
Gotcha.
like shots and like certain aspects of that movie that are like burned into my brain, just like random visual stuff in it. But I really
Gotcha.
don't remember much any of it besides that Alex Garland wrote it and I love him. So
Yeah, this is I I love Alex Garland as well, and it took me a while to watch Sunshine for whatever reason. I think I was just waiting for it to come on like a streaming service, but
mhm.
this is maybe my favorite Danny Boyle movie I've seen so far.
Ooh,
And
okay.
he's pretty hit or miss for me.
Yeah, same.
Um, but I found Sunshine to be like a really fun mix of like an alien type movie mixed with like um, I don't know, like gravity kind of.
Hmm.
In a way, it was like it came along with like what offers in both of those movies, like a beautiful soundtrack and really great visuals.
Hmm.
And for the time it came out, it came out 2007, I believe, and it looks really good still, and it was really
Nice.
fun. Also, shout out to the awesome cast: Killian Murphy, Rose
Ooh,
Byrne, Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Nice.
Yeah, man. Cliff Curtis, who is he was amazing in Doctor Sleep. Uh,
Oh
he
yes, yes.
played.
Who did he play? He was
Yeah,
fuck, I can't remember his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. I
yeah.
really
He was. I want to say it was Billy something,
I
and
think so, yeah.
he was essentially like he befriended
Yes,
Ewan
yeah,
McGregor
yeah. Oh,
in the
he's so
movie.
good in that.
He's great in it, and I hadn't seen him in anything except for this. And I was like, holy shit, it's that guy, and he's great in this. And
That's awesome.
um, yeah, this cast is amazing. Um,
Awesome. Yeah,
Other than
I need to check
Sunshine,
out Sunshine for sure.
absolutely.
It's one of those movies. I wasn't gonna mention it, but I was rewatching a little bit of Ex Machina the other day, and that's just like one of my favorite
Oh,
movies.
nice.
I love Alex Garland so
Ex
much.
Machina.
Yeah, that
Ex
movie's
Machina
crazy.
was one of those movies that just blew me away completely.
Same.
And by the when it was one of those few movies, I know there was another one uh, that did this for me. They Live,
Mhm.
where at the very end, They Live at Ex Machina. My jaw was down to the fucking floor.
Yeah,
I've never
absolutely.
had that experience except for like those two movies.
Mhm. It's a great feeling
It's
when that
insane.
happens. Yep, for
I
sure.
love it. I love
Such a
it.
sick movie. Sunshine's great. Anyway,
Shout out Alex Garland. Give him more work, please.
absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Please, yes. Yeah,
Um,
he's awesome.
Put him with fucking David Fincher,
Oh
or
my
give him
god.
a
What a fucking
give
matchup
him
that would be.
a give him a Denis Villeneuve movie.
Oh,
That would be
yo.
really sick.
Oh, both of those.
That'd be sick.
I think I'd prefer Villeneuve
I think so
collaboration. That'd
too.
be
I think so
really
too.
sick. I didn't think about
They
that,
could do some
but
really cool high concept shit. I know they could.
absolutely.
Um, Enough of that nerd shit. I rewatched Zodiac. I haven't seen this since like high school.
Oh,
I had
nice,
to give it a
nice.
rewatch. Um, this is yeah. Speaking of David Fincher, this is actually maybe my favorite David Fincher movie.
Okay, yeah.
I really like The Social Network, but rewatching Zodiac, this is right up my alley between like newsroom drama and like true crime story shit mixed with David Fincher visuals and story. Like this is a really great adaptation of the actual book, the Zodiac, uh, that was made by Robert Graysmith, who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal,
Okay.
and it does exactly what the book does and gives like a very bold, like, yeah, this is essentially who we think who did it, with no like bullshit aside. And like I really respect the movie for doing that, because you see all these like other documentaries about the Zodiac killer. I'm a big fan of like true crime documentaries,
Yeah.
but they never like say, oh, we think it was him. The movie was like, yeah, motherfucker, we think it was this guy.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that, because if you read through like evidence reports and like the actual Zodiac book, like I read transcripts from it, like some really damning shit on this one specific suspect,
Mhm.
and he was never convicted for that, and
Yeah.
never was
It's
even
crazy.
charged. It's really crazy. Zodiac killer is one of the most interesting criminal cases
I'm
out
pretty
there,
sure.
and
I swear to God, I saw
yeah.
this like thing and then like blowing up on like Twitter and shit like that, like a month or two ago about how
Mm.
like solved some part of the Zodiac code. Did you ever
There
see
was a
that?
new yeah. So there was a new. There is like three Zodiac um, ciphers that haven't been solved since
Mm-hmm.
like 78 or whatever, when the last one was released. And just recently some like history teacher like cracked a case
Oh yeah.
on one of them. but it didn't reveal much. It just so the Zodiac killer never people were suspecting he never actually released like his actual identity. He
Mm-hmm.
was just playing around.
For sure.
So people were a lot of like professionals were like suspecting that none of the other uncracked ciphers have like any actual information in it
Mm-hmm.
because none of the previous did. It was all like false information. He even took credit for other murders that he didn't commit.
Yeah.
Uh, so just like the rest of them, it was just like he was just talking about like how he's gonna like save his soul or like he's gonna be like going to hell or like being like eternal life or some shit. It was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
dumb, like really cringy, like psychopath shit.
Yeah. For sure.
But it's still it's very cool though
It's
that
very
someone was
interesting.
able to crack
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly interesting. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, as cool and as sick as this movie and the book is, we give the Zodiac Killer way too much attention than
Absolutely.
he deserves.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Like
just like a
Jesus
general
Christ.
thing for like most serial killers. Like how often I see people talking about how like smooth talking and like sexy Ted Bundy was. Like,
Yeah, that's
he
gross.
fucking lured these women in because he was so charming. Like, no, dude, this guy was
That's
like an
fucking
absolute
weird.
fucking creep. Like, that's just like not even true. Like, what? This is just gross. It's just so weird whenever I see people um, fantasizing about serial
Fetishizing about that,
killers.
yeah, it's very
Yeah,
weird.
fetishizing about them is more like it.
I won't go too deep into it, but I recently found out that people fetishize the Columbine killers.
Oh
That was
no!
trending on Twitter for a little bit
Don't. That's
a while back.
horrible. Jesus.
Very strange stuff,
Yeah. Fuck that.
but people do it.
Yeah. People are
Speaking of
fucking
serial
crazy.
killers, the next notable
Okay.
movie I watched was a serial killer movie called Spree.
Oh
This is
yes, yes. I'm
a
glad you brought this up.
have you seen this?
No, I've just been hearing about it and interested, and I saw your
Okay, yeah, this is
letterbox
an
thing, and I thought
interesting.
it was curious.
This was a very interesting. There was a movie called like what's well I no I forgot it. Oh, it's called Searching. Did you ever see Searching?
No, I want to
Uh,
watch Searching. The guy
Searching
the guy
used
who made Run, made Searching. I'm pretty sure.
yes he did. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
I forget his name, but Searching dropped like really good like social media, like realistic social media, like phone screen, computer screens,
Hmm.
and like actual like what people like sound like and talk like on social media. Like it was like all the way down to a T. It seemed like maybe like a internet personality like directed that movie.
Yeah.
Spree feels kind of like that as well,
Nice.
except it's like the more like like essentially like Twitch culture almost.
Interesting.
And not like the toxic type of
Yeah,
Twitch
yeah.
culture and shit like that. And it deals with like incel shit. And essentially Joe Keery is like trying to go viral, and his last attempt of trying to go viral after like many attempts is to start killing people live on like a Twitch
Hmm.
essentially, and he uses this ride sharing app like Uber and Lyft. It's called Spree.
Hmm.
Ironically, the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he goes on a killing spree,
Nice. Yeah.
and he kills his victims and pretty graphic, pretty bloody, and pretty funny ways.
Yeah. Good kills.
Some really good kills.
So you like to hear it.
There's a few moments where they cut the camera, but like you get a good idea of what's going on. I like that they don't really hold back too much, and they fucking kill like celebrities and shit in this movie. It's
Hmm.
pretty funny.
Interesting.
Like it's all like there's a couple SNL people in it that play like um they play like essentially like small LA like comedians and shit.
Hmm.
And but like I don't know, it's it's like essentially like LA the movie with a killer that kills a bunch of LA folks. I don't know,
Nice.
it's fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
And it's on Hulu. It's so
I like Joe
and it's
Keery a
like 90.
lot.
Joe Carey's fun.
He's one of
I just found out he's
maybe
almost
my favorite
30 though,
character.
so that
Really?
makes me weird.
That is
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
that is a little weird for some reason. I don't know why that feels weird, but it does.
Yeah. Maybe it's because he plays like teenagers and everything, but
Yeah.
um,
He's
I
great in
mean,
Stranger
he
Things.
plays
He's like one of my favorite
he,
characters in the show. So
he honestly plays the part. Yeah, he's actually he had a really awesome arc in that show.
yeah,
For the most part.
absolutely.
Um, yeah. And that's my
Well,
notable watches.
that's it for it. Right on. Yeah, I need to check out some of that shit. I don't think I've seen almost anything that you brought up. So.
Oh, have you never seen Zodiac?
Oh, I have seen. Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, Zodiac. I have seen Zodiac.
Okay,
Love
yeah,
Zodiac. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Also,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Fincher episode sometime. And I really don't know. My top 3 Fincher. Like it's so up in the air and hard to pick. You know.
Oh shit, I can do it right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, but like putting them in the order, you know.
I just did
it's
it.
hard for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll save that for a future podcast. Whoa! Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
hey,
a good
hey,
idea.
Hey, check that shit
That's
out.
just gonna make me rewatch a bunch of Fincher movies, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. There's a few I haven't seen though, so I'll be excited to catch
Well,
up.
what haven't you seen?
I haven't.
I'll watch them with you.
I haven't seen Panic Room, Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Well, that's boring.
That might be it actually. I think there.
I'll watch Panic Room with you.
Yeah.
Panic Room's a fun one.
Yeah, I got that one.
Hey, you've seen Alien 3?
I haven't seen Alien 3. That's right.
And you haven't seen Aliens either.
I haven't seen
so
Aliens
we gotta
either.
watch those.
Yeah, we gotta watch those.
Maybe we'll do an Alien episode.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Because I'll be honest with you right now, we're gonna need to talk about this a little bit when we go to the intermission. I forgot to think about what we're doing for next episode. So by the time we get to the end of this episode, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. By the way, if we do Alien, we're doing a marathon, which includes the Prometheus and Alien Covenant movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
That's good. I hope so. That's exciting.
And you know what? It includes the Blade Runner movies because apparently they're canon according to Ridley Scott.
Well, shut the fuck up, Ridley Scott. Shut the fuck up. God, I hate that shit, dude. Going back.
Wait, really? I think that's cool.
I think
that's cool that he's like. It's not retconned either. It's like shit that's like there's like evidence in the first movie.
If it's not like him, if he's not pulling like a J.K. Rowling type beat thing.
No, he's not being turf about it.
Then that Ridley Scott's not turning into a turf. I'm glad.
Thank God. That would ruin my life, honestly. Like he's super hit or miss. But like for some reason, I just love watching every Ridley Scott movie.
Hit though.
Facts, man. Martian, I've seen that movie like 50 times since it came out. I'm not even kidding.
I haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters, but I loved it then.
That's one of my favorite movies. That's awesome.
That's fucking sick. Anyway,
enough of that.
Topic. Yeah, I'll get into my notable watches. I did watch a little bit of 2 TV shows this week. I started WandaVision that came out on Disney Plus.
Oh, so did 15th.
I. You did? Did you watch both episodes?
I watched both episodes. Yeah.
I don't want to talk on it. I don't really think there's much to talk on. You know, they really don't give away too much.
You don't want to like speculate and shit. Like, I mean, there's not too much to speculate.
So this is the thing with it that I kind of thought about when I finished them. Especially since it's only 6 episodes in like 25-minute episodes, I think I might wait until all of them air and then binge it all. You know?
Oh, really?
I don't know.
That might be a good.
That
honestly might be a good idea.
Something about just the length of the show. Like I really enjoyed it. Those first 2 episodes. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. Like that dinner scene. That scene made me
that was sick.
Really intense. I was like,
there's actually
this is weird.
That was like one of the only times in that first episode where they did a camera change during that. Like I see like a camera and lighting change, and I was like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah.
They do it a little bit too much in the second episode.
For sure.
But like that was like something that was very cool, and I was like, yo, this is some David Lynch shit for real. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
absolutely.
man. It was sick.
I
It
Dude,
was sick.
I've seen some, so I've seen that comment a bunch online about how it's very like Lynchian, and I 100% agree. Um, but I've seen people
It's
on
very strange.
like Reddit and Twitter like gatekeeping, like, no, this isn't
Ew.
Lynchian. Lynchian is way more
Ew.
advanced and fucking whatever. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Just let
Cringe.
people have fun with it. It's totally Lynchian.
Okay.
That literally just means like surreal and like with a really twisted dark
Mm,
undertone, you know? That's
sure.
basically
Yeah.
what that means. And One
Sure.
Division definitely fits that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's just very bizarre, and I gotta be honest. Like everything's really good about it, but what do you think about the performances of uh what's her face, the sister,
Elizabeth Olsen.
Olsen? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about Elizabeth Olsen?
She's all right in it. I don't think she's
Yeah.
necessarily bad in it. She's definitely not stand out. Paul Bettany has been great. I'm a huge Paul
Yeah.
Bettany fan, and I actually did want to make a note of that. I think
Yeah.
he's phenomenal in it. He's had some fucking
Uh,
really incredible
he's a lot
scenes.
of fun.
I
Yeah.
really love Paul Bettany, but Elizabeth Olsen, she serves the part. I feel, um, that's all I can really say about it. I guess I
Yeah.
don't think she's
I don't know. I
particularly
just
good or
like.
bad.
Yeah. I just like. I don't know. We'll see what. Cause obviously, I'm pretty sure she's essentially going to be like the main character out of the end of this,
Hmm.
and like so I'm curious on where they're taking her character,
Yeah,
because I don't know, it's been like a weird few moments in there. I don't
yeah.
know.
It definitely has a lot of like little hints of really weird shit. Like the ending of episode 2 is very
Oh,
strange. Um,
yeah, I
and
didn't understand
I'm
any
excited
of
to
it,
see more. But
and I love it.
yeah, I think I am gonna. This is the hard thing about it is I really do want to wait until it all airs and binge it, but I know I'll be like accidentally seeing like small spoilers and shit on Twitter and such
Yeah,
the whole
that's
time.
that's
So
how it
it's like
was
I
for
really don't
fucking.
want that.
That's how it was for the Mandalorian for me, and now I'm like not even like
Yeah.
motivated to
Yeah,
watch it
exactly.
because I know like all this shit.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I'll
I'll watch it.
realistically, I'll probably end up watching it weekly because I'm a massive Marvel nerd, and I can't
Yeah.
help myself and I can't control my watches. But
You know
have to
what
do
though? You
that.
know what? I had Marvel fatigue, especially right after Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man came out.
Hmm.
Like I enjoyed that movie, but like I felt a real fatigue from like anything Marvel. Ex- Watching WandaVision gave me like that little dopamine from Marvel
Yeah,
that was like
I
needed, and
I
like
agree
after like
with
a year,
I agree
and,
with
and
that
I
for
was
sure.
like, that's good and that's enough. I don't need any more. Thank
Hmm.
you.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
Give me
personally
another episode in a week.
I've personally never felt the the Marvel fatigue myself. Just because I'm just too much of a fanboy. I can't help it. Um, but I
Yeah.
completely understand that feeling, and I think WandaVision does a good
I
job.
never thought I would have it. And
Uh,
then when fucking the last Spider-Man came out, what was it, Far From Home?
yeah,
I was like, wow, why? There's cool stuff happened on screen. Why am I feeling weird?
yeah,
Like, why am I
interesting.
like kind of not digging this? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't
interesting because
know.
I love Far From Home. That's like one of my like favorite Marvel movies actually.
No,
I think
like
it's
I
so good.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I was like, I don't know.
I
I
get you.
don't
I
know.
got
I
you. I got
mean,
you. I know what you mean.
I think the main thing for me about Marvel movies is like, I don't know. They all look the same now.
Yeah, no, they totally
They're
do. I hope they start. It seems like they've been like branching out more and becoming more creative with them slowly,
that
and I hope they do
I'm
that
they're
more.
giving James Gunn, Taika Waititi, they're giving Sam Raimi some
Hmm.
reins, and I'm like digging what I'm
Great
hearing out of
aspects. Yeah,
reports.
those are
And I'm hearing a lot of like casting, like a lot of casting,
yeah.
and a lot of people are like weird about some of it, but like all of it, I'm like,
All of it I've been
I
interested in.
I trust it, and I
I
want to
do
see
too.
Marvel go like cosmic and shit
Hmm.
because I think that would help. That would help get out of like they just need to get off of Earth first of all. But
Yeah,
like
for
I
sure.
don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
hope
excited.
so. I'm excited to see more of Marvel stuff because
Thor
I know there's gonna
Thor
be a
four
bunch coming out this year.
Thor 4 is sounding really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's gonna be sick.
Same
I
with
think.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out this year, isn't it?
yeah, dude. There's a bunch of Marvel that's finally coming out this year. Like I
Yeah.
like I saw something. I this is not gonna sound cool or revelatory in any way because I cannot remember the time frame at all. But it was something like we won't go a specific time at all this entire year without a new Marvel movie, and it was something like every month or some
Whoa.
shit like that. You know,
Wait,
some like pretty
what?
small time frame of that. Like basically
Is it
every
like a
month we'll be
Marvel
getting like
movie
a
or
new
is it like
like
Marvel
piece of
TV
Marvel.
show?
Like yeah, TV
Oh,
show or
okay,
movie.
okay.
TV show or movie.
Gotcha. You know what? I'm like kind of looking forward to that. If I'm
So am
not
I.
going to the
So
theater,
am I.
I'll be like fine with watching it on Disney
I'm
Plus.
super looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Especially like what's that fucking? They've been teasing it for the longest time, like the Bucky and fucking
The Winter
Falcon.
Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to see that shit because I like their
yeah,
like
same.
chemistry.
I
They're
love
fun
both of those
together.
characters. I
Yeah,
think that's gonna be really fun. Have
yeah.
you heard of the new speaking of Anthony Mackie, the new
What
Anthony
about him?
Mackie action movie on Netflix where he's like a cyborg?
No.
It looks
What?
really bad. And my roommate's watching it downstairs right now, and I saw a little bit of it, and it was pretty fucking bad. So I don't,
What's
I
it called?
definitely don't plan on watching it, but it's pretty lame.
Wait, is he like a starring in it or
Yeah,
something?
he's the lead.
Oh, that's
That's
a
the whole thing.
bummer.
It's like Anthony Mackie's a cyborg, and he's kicking ass.
He's never been a leading man,
But it's
so
like all
I
the
don't know.
cyborg parts are fucking covered by his clothing, so he just looks like a regular man. Like,
Oh, they were
wow,
like
so cool.
he's a cyborg, but the budget was $5 million.
Exactly. That's literally exactly how it is. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems like some people are enjoying it, but it looks pretty
interesting.
boring and not really my thing. So
Well, sucks to suck, man.
yeah,
I've never seen him in like a leading role before, so
same. Yeah,
that's kind of a bummer that the first one I hear about's not very good.
yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Anyway, I gotta go through my list. I'm looking at. I'm
let's
like, I
hear
do
'em.
got quite a bit to say about each of these movies. So I'll blow
Say it.
past the other TV show I wanted to mention. I watched Castlevania. It's an anime on Netflix that's
Oh,
based
nice.
off of the game series by Konami. I watched the first season, which is only 4 episodes, and then the other two are like 12 episodes. It's kind of weird, but that first season really enjoyable, pretty by the books, just building up the world and these characters, crazy cool action scenes, really good animation. I'm super excited to watch more of the show. I had pretty low hopes for it, but it definitely really grabbed my attention, and I'm excited to watch more.
This is about like vampires and shit, right?
Yep, yep.
Like
Vampires and
Castlevania.
vampire
That's sick.
hunters.
I've seen like images of it on like Netflix, and I'm like, oh, this
Yeah,
always looks
yeah, dude. The
very
animation
interesting.
is so good, and those fight scenes are killer. It's
I'm gonna have to check this out.
super enjoyable for sure. I do recommend it
Cool.
absolutely. Like I said, the first season's only 4 episodes. Just super
Oh,
short little thing.
that's sick.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's nice. But anyway, getting on into the movies, I talked with you about this movie, and I was really debating if I actually should bring this up, but I decided to talk about Leon the Professional a little bit. So if you follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd, you saw my reactions and stuff that I posted right after I watched this movie. Um, and I really think this is the most disgusting, worst thing I've ever consumed of like any art, quote unquote art or anything. This movie was just horrendous in every way. I it's literally I guess trigger warnings a little bit before I talk about it a little bit. Pedophilia, talking about this movie. Sorry, so skip forward a little bit if you don't want to hear about that. But dude, this movie is straight up a pedophile fantasy movie. I really don't understand how people can like this movie. Even like if you're just looking at, obviously you're just looking at the movie, like it's gross as is. The lead girl starts to fall in love with the main character, and it makes sense honestly in the plot, and like it's kind of uncomfy, but whatever. But then he never addresses it. He never makes it clear to her that it's wrong and that she shouldn't be feeling these things, and he almost reinforces it at other points, and it's just disgusting and really made me have a horrible feeling while watching the movie that they never fully condemned it. And I was like, maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. I feel really uncomfy, and this feels like just like a pedophile fantasy shit. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. And so I started to read up more on the movie, and the more you hear about some of these behind the scenes stuff, like I think it's impossible not to take them into account when talking about this movie. Namely, a few things. The fact that in the original script, there was originally supposed to be a sex scene in the movie between the Leon and Natalie Portman's character, which is sickening, just fucking sickening. And then hearing about the stuff about how Natalie Portman, it ruined a lot of her childhood, feeling very like sexually stunted in a way of she was hypersexualized at a really young age and got like horrifically disgusting fan mail, quote unquote fan mail and shit like that. And it really had a massively negative impact on her, which is horrible to hear. And then the last thing that's even worse is Luc Besson, the writer and director, who has told this story proudly, and people listen to it and don't even care, about how he was 29 when he met this 12-year-old girl. They started a friendship then, and then when she was 15, so he would have been 31, 32, he got her pregnant, and then they married right afterwards. And if that's not disgusting enough, he has said loud and proud that he based the script of the movie off his relationship with her. Just horrible. Just fucking disgusting, man. Fuck Luc Besson. Fuck Leon the Professional. Just a horrible movie. That's all I want to say about it. I think even if you look past the horrible, gross stuff in the movie, which is stupid, it's impossible to look past that stuff. All the behind the scenes stuff and stuff just makes it even more worse. And yeah, the worst thing I've ever consumed. And I'm glad I never have to watch it again. I wish I could not think about it again, but sadly, it's such a highly regarded and prominent film for God knows why. I have no fucking idea why. But it makes me sick.
It's always been highly rated, but it's definitely, ever since it's come out, it's always been met with contention because of all the elements that you already explained. That stigma has never left that movie. But Hollywood has a blacklisted Luc Besson for that.
Yeah.
So he keeps on making weird sci-fi movies with Nathan Hahn.
Yeah. So fucking sucks. So if you like Leon the Professional and you haven't rewatched it in a while, maybe don't rewatch it and think about it a little bit, because it's 100% a pedophile fantasy movie. No doubt. There's really no way to look around that. It 100% is. Sorry. Anyway,
cool.
That's it on that. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That movie makes me sick. I actually didn't even watch a movie for like 6 days afterwards. I actually felt so sick. Like, it was horrible. I hate it so much.
Gross.
Finally, moving on. Lots of great stuff I watched this week. Lots of other really great stuff. So for Christmas, I finally got I got the Ingmar Bergman box set Criterion collection. It comes with, I believe, 25 or 26 Bergman movies with a ton of special features and a great booklet, really cool case. And I'm obsessed with Bergman. I'd previously only seen three of his movies: Persona, The Seventh Seal, and Shame. Loved all three of them. Really incredible, especially Persona. That's easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Just so, so great. So I was really happy to get this for Christmas. Shout out my parents. And so I cracked into it, and I'm just gonna start. I started with number one. I'm just gonna try and work my way through it. And number one was Smiles of a Summer Night. This movie is incredible. Oh my god. It 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 this and Persona are honestly tied for my favorite Bergman right now. This movie was so good. It was made really early on in his career where he focused a lot more on comedy. And so he has a lot of really interesting comedic themes in a lot of his other later movies, especially in Seventh Seal, which I mean isn't that much later. It came out like 2 years after this. But he has always dabbled in comedy a little bit, but way more in the forefront in some of his earlier movies. And this movie is straight up a comedy, just 100% a comedy. And it's so well crafted and also really poetic and beautiful. It's really just watching, I think it's like 6 different characters, maybe 7, and all of their relationships to love and their relationships with each other and how those clash. And it's really interesting because they're just really honest, really well fleshed out characters that are also just fucking hilarious. This I won't give away too much of the movie, but it starts off. You meet our main character, and the first thing that you'll learn immediately is he's a rich guy. He has a very young wife, and he has a young son who wants to fuck his young wife, and everybody knows about it. And that's the first thing that you hear in this movie, basically. And then it just goes down the rabbit hole of those relationships and then some of their friends and how they meld in with them and such like that. And it's so, so funny and so interesting. Probably my favorite character is the young son. He is just such a moody little bastard who's just like so funny and like weirdly charming in a way too. And there's this one scene that I just couldn't stop laughing over where the camera is panning through their living room and the father and wife are walking through it, and then it gets to the end and he's sitting there in a turtleneck all wrapped up holding a guitar just sitting there. And it felt like something out of like a Wes Anderson movie, you know, with the like super super quirky characters. And it was just hilarious. Probably like I probably laughed more in that movie than most other movies I've seen. Just an absolute treat of a watch, and also has some really poignant themes of love that are not only really important but well fleshed out and interesting. So huge fan of Smiles of a Summer Night. Love this movie. Highly, highly recommend it. I'm excited to check out more of the Bergman box set, you know? It's
I
exciting.
saw that fucking box set. The shit was huge. You got some ways to go on that motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely, I do. But I'm excited to dive into it more. Anyway, and then after that,
oh,
what do you say?
I said I gotta check out some more shit. I've only seen Seventh Seal.
Yeah, man, you do need to. I've actually been really wanting to rewatch Persona recently. Well, maybe we should watch Persona together. Cause I'd love to talk to you about that movie because it's a real mind fucking
that'd
movie.
be interesting.
I really want to do a double feature of Persona and The Lighthouse, because The Lighthouse is really similar to Persona in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It takes a lot of inspiration from it, and I think it's super interesting. It might be a little bit too much of like an intense double feature, you know, in that sense. But at the same time, they are like so similar in so many ways, but while being completely unique in different stories, you know. I think it would be cool to watch them at least like close together, you know.
Yeah, that'd be
a cool
sick.
little double bill. Yeah. Anyway, after that, I caught Death Wish. Obviously, we're talking about revenge movies this week, so I really wanted to go back and watch some more classic revenge movies that I'd never seen before. So I went back and watched Death Wish, 1974 by Michael Winner, stars Charles Bronson. It got remade a few years ago with Bruce Willis. I haven't seen that version, but
Yeah, I saw that in theaters.
oh really? Was it good?
Yeah. No, it's garbage.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It was an Eli Roth movie that
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah. Yikes.
it's just not good. I'm not even gonna say much about it.
Have you seen or heard of anything about this original one?
Yeah, I've seen the original one.
Oh, you have? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I liked it.
There was a you liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. It was a staple in like the exploitative 70s
For sure.
era, and it was I don't know. I found it pretty enjoyable. I haven't seen it since like high school though. But
So how I felt about it is like I thought it was started off really strong, and I was
right,
really loving it, and like the directing was really unique, some really interesting angles. Lots of time like shooting from the corners of the rooms and like getting this really wide shot, which felt really interesting a lot of the time, and just really creative. And I thought the acting was pretty good for the most part. And just like a
mm,
pretty fucked up but like interesting story, you know. And I was like, I could tell where it's gonna go, you know. And I'm excited. But then like when he started, you know, doing the killings and stuff like that, the movie kind of went off the rails. And for some reason, the acting,
mm,
especially by the lead character, just became horrible. And the
yeah,
directing and cinematography just became super bland and uninteresting. And so I was pretty disappointed with that.
interesting.
But like in the first half, I was really enjoying the movie, you know. And I don't want to downgrade that in any way because I thought it was really creative and really interesting. That sadly the second half wasn't able to continue that energy, you know. But it still was an interesting movie, and it was a great little last shot of him, you know, fucking doing the gun. It was nice. I love good last shots in the movie, you know. Nice way to round it out, of course. I
Yeah,
don't know if you
there's some
remember.
element.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
no, you're good. I don't know if you remember. Young Jeff Goldblum is in this movie.
Hmm.
This is like one of his first roles. He plays one of the thugs who, you know, torment the lead character's family near the beginning. It's a pretty horrific scene. Not fun to watch at all.
Oh
But
yeah,
Jeff Goldblum is slimy as fuck and creepy as hell. Um, and it was cool to see
there
a young
was
Jeff Goldblum.
I agree. I was just gonna say there's something about these like old '70s like uh, exploitative movies that are just they feel like snuff films
Oh,
sometimes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like it's very strange.
Hmm.
And honestly, I gotta give it credit to the directing and even set design for the most part, because some of it just feels like straight up like film grainy, like
Yeah.
old snuff porn. It's just like I don't know. It's very disturbing, but it's an art
It's
style that
effective,
I
you
gotta
know.
respect. I gotta
It's
respect. Yeah.
yeah, I respect
And
it in the sense
the
of like
best I've seen it done is definitely a Texas Chainsaw, hands down.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I find that movie still incredibly terrifying.
Yeah, I
And
100% agree. I finally watched that for the first time back in October. And yeah, that movie is incredible.
nice,
I was a huge fan of it. Yeah. It's hard
good
to
shit.
do that type right, you know. And especially, you know, dealing with such like difficult subject matters, you know. It's
Ha-
hard to
yeah,
give it proper justice, you know. And Death Wish
there was
kind of does, and like I said in that, like I really thought that first half was really good.
definitely there was a movie that came out. It was based off a short um that a couple Adult Swim
Hmm.
guys did. They were like a Tim Eric like people
Yeah.
called Hobo with a Shotgun,
Oh, I've heard of
and
that.
they made a feature out of it, and it like actually like captures a really fun like '70s like exploitative uh film and like a nice little modern package.
Nice.
Um, and if you're looking for stuff like that, don't look for the Death Proof remake. Look for movies like that
Yeah,
that are
the Death Wish remake, but yeah.
Death Wish.
Yeah,
Sorry,
still though.
Death Proof
Uh,
is the Death Proof remake hasn't come out yet, but when it does, I promise it
I'm
won't
sure
be
it's
very
gonna be
good.
bad. I'm sure it's gonna be bad whenever
Yeah.
they do it. I haven't seen the original Death Proof. I still need to just to say that I have. It's a
I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet.
yeah.
It's
That's one
it's
of
a fun.
the
It's honestly a fun one.
yeah. That's one of
It's a
the
good
very
Kurt Russell.
few amount of Tarantino movies I haven't caught.
You haven't seen Jackie Brown yet,
I
have
haven't
you?
seen Jackie Brown either.
Oh my god, I
Um,
want to watch that with you then.
yeah, we should honestly. I'm down. Maybe our next steps will
I
be a
got it on
Tarantino episode.
Blu-ray. I got it on
Nice.
Blu-ray. I will bring it down to
Okay,
EJ.
yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, moving on. I caught a movie. This is an old rewatch. I haven't rewatched this movie in a long time, and I knew I really enjoyed it, but not to this level. I rewatched Surfs Up, man. When was
Oh,
the
the
last
Penguin
time
one.
you've rewatched Surfs Up?
Probably when I was 6, but I
Dude,
did watch this one in theaters.
yeah.
When did this come out? Like 2007?
2007? Yeah, I think. I
Yeah.
think it's
Okay.
2007. Holy
Yeah.
shit, this movie is incredible. Near masterpiece, and I'm not even joking. This movie was so fucking good. I remembered the whole like mockumentary style of it, Um
Hmm.
and I remember liking that, but now that
Yeah.
like
Holy shit, I remember that.
yeah, like it's a full on like documentary
Oh.
type style. And it's so well done and never feels gimmicky. They do it for some like really creative and legitimately good jokes and gags throughout, but it really, really works almost every single
There's
time.
a
And it's so
there's a
fucking
pee
cool.
joke. There's a pee joke with that usually I would hate in any movie, but
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
it being
yeah,
especially funny in
absolutely.
Surf's
It's so
which is a
good.
fucking children's movie, and you got someone peeing. You got someone giving someone a golden shower
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah,
awesome.
I haven't seen that movie in forever, but
Dude, it's
yeah, you
so
gotta
it
definitely give it love.
it's absolutely hilarious, incredibly creative with its
I
documentary style, which is so great, I think. But the
That's
thing that
really
like
cool.
really anchors down this movie is the characters, of course. Those characters of Shia LaBeouf. I don't know. I can't remember the penguin's name, but it's voiced by Shia LaBeouf, the
Oh,
main
is it
character.
Shia? Interesting.
Yeah. And then
Who's the
Chicken
chicken?
Joe.
Yeah, Chicken
I
Joe.
don't know who plays him, but Chicken Joe, and then you got Big Z, and then you got the girl whose name I can't remember because I'm not very good at remembering names. But
I
they're
don't know
all
the girl. I
really,
forgot.
really well fleshed out and interesting characters, and they feel like honest, like they have like really beautiful, genuine friendships that don't feel artificial in any way, and they feel so true to their characters that they build. It's just really, really fun to watch, and adds a really great emotional backbone to this movie. I definitely teared up a little bit towards the
Okay.
end. I This movie
Wow.
really affected me in that sense, and I also just think it's wildly creative and funny. Um, yeah, man, dude, Surfs Up was so good. I'm
Yo,
so glad I rewatched it.
Surf's Up versus Happy Feet versus March of the Penguins. Go.
Yo, Surfs Up any
Fuck me. Wait,
fucking
no, no, no,
day
no,
of
no,
the
wait, no,
week.
wait, no, wait. Fuck, Mary, kill. March of the Penguins. Surf's Up. Happy Feet.
All right. I'm marrying Surfs Up. Obviously, I gotta marry
Okay.
Surfs Up. I want to be with them forever. Now, this might be a little bit of controversial, but I'm gonna fuck March of the Penguins.
Oh, okay, respect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's some
I'm gonna
Hallmark
I'm
shit.
gonna fuck
I
March of
would
the
tap that too.
Penguins, and then I'm sorry. Obviously, I gotta kill Happy Feet. Sorry, I love you, George
Damn.
Miller. I love the Mad
I
Max
actually,
series, but
yo,
man,
I love Happy Feet. Oh
Happy
my
Feet's
god.
great. But
Happy, yo,
man,
Happy
something
Feet's got
about that
some
March of the
amazing
Penguins though.
visuals.
you know what I
Yeah, no
mean.
facts. Yeah, what? Nothing like watching penguins shuffle around for an hour and 30 minutes on
Exactly.
screen.
Something about that just
Yeah,
gets me going.
for sure.
Fuck.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh god. I can't believe
Yeah,
this
yeah,
this
that's
is
getting clipped.
this is what this fucking
So
podcast has devolved
that's
into, dude.
yeah, that last minute and 30 seconds is gonna be used in court one day. Just I'm guaranteeing right now. So, Your Honor, Your
Oh,
Honor, just let you know.
he is clearly a well-defined, established penguin fucker. Listen to this clip, and it's undeniable.
Yeah,
God damn it!
yeah.
They fucking got me, dude.
Shout
I'm
out
a
Surf's
furry.
Up.
They got me. They
I
got me.
knew it. Wait, no, isn't it something else when you're like a bird? No, you're a
Dude,
furry.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're a furry.
I don't fucking know.
I know there's like
I don't know this.
scaly.
I don't know the subgenres of fucking
There's like
furryism.
scalies, which are like lizards,
Oh.
and then there's like dragon people and shit. And
Oh.
there's like I don't know. There's
Oh,
like other
we need
shit.
to
There's
stop
like
kink shaming.
cat girls.
Hey, we don't kink shame on this podcast, right? Yeah.
Actually, I do. Yeah, if you're a furry, that's fucking weird. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, no. You know what? Like, I don't know. I just find it weird because it's like very close to being bestiality. So I don't know.
I agree.
But
It's
but like, if you're just a
way
furry
too
to be
close to
like fun and
bestiality.
shit, like to dress up in like cosplay, I think
Yeah,
that's
like
cool as
that's
fuck.
fine. But when you start making it like hypersexual,
I don't know. I mean, I think it's okay. I just find it weird. Anyway, that's my
Yep,
opinion on this
yep,
film podcast.
yep. On my film
Um,
podcast, we are talking about furries. I love this. We went from
yeah,
fucking
we're talking about
surfs up.
talking about the
We're talking about
ethics of
pedophiles
furries.
and fucking furries this episode. That's really
Yeah,
great, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited to post this
yeah,
one. Fuck.
yeah.
Oh god.
Good shit.
Anyway,
We're not even through notable watches
yeah.
yet. Last time,
This is my last one. This is my last one. I wanted to shout out the movie One Night in Miami. Holy shit,
oh,
dude. So
yeah,
this
you told me
movie
about
is on a lot of people's 2020 ranked list, for their favorite movies of the year. And if this movie had came out in time, this would have been a top fiver for me, actually.
this. Mm,
I loved this
yeah.
movie. It really blew me away. I was expecting, this is kind of the interesting thing with this movie and like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which I did really enjoy. Don't get me wrong, but hearing about these movies and like seeing the like trailers from and shit like that, I was really expecting Ma Rainey's to be a lot more cinematic, I guess. And I was expecting One Night in Miami to be a lot more like structured like a play and really feel like a play. But I felt the complete opposite. One Night in Miami really did feel like its own film. Like it was clearly based on a play, but that's not an issue in any way because it's so creative with its directing. I think Regina King has a really incredible style, I think, that's very prominent in her directorial feature debut. She's directed a number of TV show episodes as well, so it's not her directorial debut, but her feature film debut. And she has just a real life behind the camera. There's some just blocking that in this movie. I don't really talk about blocking too much, and for those who don't really know what that means, I guess it's really just the blocking of the characters in the scene, where they're standing in the scene and how they're interacting with the environment in the scene, just how they look, basically, in their placement in the shot. And there's some really creative blocking in this movie that makes a lot of, it is a lot of talking scenes in this movie, but it makes them feel so dynamic and interesting. Like it really caught my eye. And man, it's like a hangout movie. I love hangout movies. It's just four
For
boys
sure.
shooting the shit, fucking hanging out, cracking jokes. This movie is hilarious. There is so much great comedy in this movie. So the first half of this movie, it really is. So beginning, you're introduced to all of these beloved characters: Cassius Clay, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke, and you're introduced to all of them in these really interesting ways that feed into later points in the story, obviously, while also
Mhm.
really you know doing tribute to these characters, I think. um and then you see that, and then you kind of start to see them slowly get together, and it leads up to a boxing match of Cassius Clay, and then after the match they all get together and hang out all night, and that's the structure of it. And it's really playful for that whole first half, just lots of jokes, but there is like this simmering dark undertone of like something that's gonna happen, and then they get into the room and they're hanging out, and it starts to kind of bubble up under the surface, but you're not really sure. And then the collide starts to happen. You get these four very powerful, prominent figures who are all incredibly important in the Black community and just in America during those times. And their different aspects of how they affected the civil rights movement, which is obviously so important and prominent during these times. And you get to see all of their very specific ideals on how they approach that movement and their places in that movement, alongside how they view the others' placements in the movement. And you get
Right.
a lot of the main drama becomes from Malcolm X criticizing Sam Cooke and how he is in the music industry and such like that. But then Sam Cooke comes back with some really great retorts about how like he really is doing lots of great stuff for the Black community, and like it's just though all of those dynamics are so well fleshed out and interesting, and it's so true to these characters while being like unique. Like it didn't feel like they were just trying to impersonate these characters. They really embodied what the characters and these people mean, and like the essence of them. And these are like maybe like some of the four best performances of the year. I can't remember how they're going to be classified at the Oscars, like who's running for lead and who's running for supporting. Um, but oh my god, the absolute standout for me, Leslie Odom Jr. playing Sam Cooke, is just unreal. I am so glad he's getting a proper time to shine in the limelight, and I hope he gets nominated for whatever Oscar, supporting or lead. He's incredible in Hamilton, which is something I'm a huge fan of, and he really gets to shine in this movie. Absolutely. He does carry a lot of the fun in this movie alongside a lot of the emotional weight, and the movie ends with him singing a song, and it's quite possibly one of my favorite songs of all time. Um, and it's
Well, damn.
just so impactful, this movie. I think it is a perfect movie. There's so much love to it. There's so much depth in everything that happens, and it feels just so real and honest and just well made. It's such an enjoyable movie. Please check out One Night in Miami. It's available on Amazon Prime Video, and
Yeah, that was
it,
one you mentioned to me, and I'm definitely gonna check it out. I had no idea what it was about,
mhm.
but that
Yeah,
was
just those
your
four boys
summary was
hanging
intriguing.
out and talking, and it's
Sounds
fucking
good.
great. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Muhammad Ali, or at the time in the movie known as Cassius Clay, and Sam Cooke are two figures that me personally have had a really big influence on my life. I've always just been really interested in both of those people. I've always been a really big boxing fan, and a big reason was watching those old matches of Cassius Clay boxing and like seeing like some documentaries about him and such. And then
Hmm.
I'm a huge fan of Sam Cooke's music and such. And both of those people are just really incredible people and have great stories. And seeing them portrayed in such um, a perfect way, feels great. And they really give life to those characters. And I have so much love for this movie, and I'm excited to rewatch it. This is definitely a movie that you can rewatch over and over again and just sit back and enjoy, have fun, and then also feel some pretty important themes that like really get you thinking, really make you heartfelt. but it ends on a nice note, you know? It ends
Mm.
making you feel kind of good. But at the same time, there's a real darkness to the movie, especially, the movie takes place in February of 1964. If you know your history at all, I don't know it too well, but I know Sam Cooke passed away in December of 1964. So he passed away like 8 months later, after this
Mm.
night, and this night did happen. Yes, it's based off a play, um, and it is like fictionalized what they say and such like that. But that night of Cassius Clay winning this boxing tournament and all of them hanging out and discussing their placements in the civil rights movement and such like that did actually happen. Um, and so it's
Yeah.
really sad knowing that Sam Cooke passes away so soon after the events of this movie, and then alongside Malcolm X, who passes away in February of 1965, who was assassinated um, then, which is just horrible. And yeah, watch this movie. It's really
Rest in peace,
great.
Malcolm X.
And also check out The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. It's a documentary on Netflix about Sam Cooke and his death, and it's incredibly interesting. And if you have read in the past about how he died, it's pretty fucked up. And like it's like puts him in a really bad light, and deservedly. But then you see this documentary, and it really swayed me in thinking like, okay, there is something a lot more fucked up going on here. Like this was like a planned thing potentially. Like I don't know, and
Mm.
definitely a little bit like potential conspiracy theory, I guess, type beat. But like
Yeah,
it swayed me.
literally
I'll
have no
admit.
idea.
So yeah, check out One Night in Miami and also The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. Both really incredible. So good.
Cool.
I'm so glad that movie finally got released to the masses so more people can watch it. And I just wish it came out earlier.
What's it on right now?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely check
Yep.
it out then.
Yep. Super easy to watch. It's out there. Anyway, though,
Cool.
that'll close up this notable watches section. Obviously, let us know if you've seen any of those movies, if you love them, if you hate them, if you're a Leon stan and you're somehow gonna come and defend it to me. Don't. I don't give a shit. I will block you. I don't care. So anyway,
What do you think about Bassan's other movies?
I don't think I've seen
What
any of
you've
his other
seen?
movies.
Really? You
Yeah, I
never
don't.
seen like Fifth Element?
Nope.
He did that Valerian movie that
Nope.
was pretty garbage.
I've always been interested in Fifth Element, but I'm not really sure if I'm interested in it anymore. But
I mean, I think it's good. It's
yeah,
fun.
we'll see.
There's
Anyway,
no.
though, after of course every episode I've got to insult our listeners because I'm an asshole. And I'm sorry. I love all you guys. Of course, I love you. Kisses, always.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for the notable watches section. Check out that shit. We'll move on to the topic of the week, baby. Revenge movies. Man, I love revenge movies. They are a staple in my family. Everyone in my family loves revenge movies. And I didn't mention this earlier, but this is why I'm doing it this week. Is it's my mom's birthday this next week, the 24th. Happy birthday,
Oh,
Mom.
nice.
Revenge movies are her favorite type of movies, and Man on Fire is her favorite revenge movie. And so we're going to be discussing that in depth in a bit, of course. But for now, we're going to be talking about, non-spoiler, of course, don't worry, our top 3 revenge movies. So, Nick, you want to kick us off as always?
Yeah. So this was like, I had to go back in my catalog.
This is hard
Because
to make.
I've honestly at first it was like super easy, and my list was at one point set, but then I changed it over the last week because I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh wait, one of my favorite movies is this, and oh wait, this is another fantastic movie that blah blah blah. And starting off, I put one of my favorite movies, Steven Soderbergh's Ocean's 11.
Nice.
Um,
Yes.
this is inherently a heist movie, but um, just like the plot of the movie in the background. It's secretly a uh
Absolutely.
revenge caper um with Danny Ocean uh trying to take over the casino, which is the owner is essentially
Well, don't give away spoilers, of course.
dating. Well, no, it's not a spoiler. Like
Okay,
he's
okay, okay.
dating Danny's ex-wife,
hmm
and like Danny's trying to get revenge on that. And that's not really a spoiler. I
I think
feel like
that's fine.
everyone's
I
seen
think
this
that's fine.
movie, but I don't know. It's a really fun heist movie in general. I love this cast so much. Oh my god,
It's such a fucking
um,
killer cast.
it's an insane cast. I don't even have to mention um, Bernie Mac being amazing and
Oh my
essentially
god.
being a main character in this movie to a T.
Yeah.
And then they kind of tertiary his ass in the other two movies. But regardless, Matt Damon is amazing in this. Brad Pitt is eating in every scene, and it's
Of
amazing.
course.
He looks so cool doing it.
He's always
Scott,
eating in every movie.
he's literally eating in every scene. Like if he doesn't have a snack, it looks weird.
Look, I'm
Um,
not in the mukbang here, but Brad Pitt eating, I'd watch that any fucking day of the week.
yeah, honestly, facts. He makes it look amazing. Like he's like working on like full on milkshakes in this movie, and he pulls it off really well.
Yeah.
Um, there's a and he does it in all these movies, but um, let's see, Scott Conn and fucking Casey Affleck are an amazing
Yeah.
duo in this. They're so fucking funny. Um, uh, it's just a really good cast in general,
It's
and
such a fun
it's
movie, dude. It's so
it's a
fun.
personal favorite for me. Um, I don't know. It's one of those movies that I mentioned earlier, like The Martian, where I've seen over 500 times.
Yeah.
So, and I never get tired of.
Yeah.
And if a movie
I
could do
really
that
need
for
to
me,
watch the
that's a
sequels.
solid favorite.
I really need to
Yeah.
watch the sequels because I absolutely love the first one. It's a
So
classic.
funny enough, I think the second one, Ocean's 12, is stylistically just a lot of fun, and you could tell like the characters and the actors were just having a great time.
Okay.
And then the third one is it's okay. It's actually more of a revenge plot than the first one,
hmm
but it's honestly just an okay movie. And the characters obviously carry it for the most part, but uh,
Nice.
and it's got one of my favorite Al Pacino lines,
hmm
so it gets extra points for that.
Nice. Right on.
But that's my number three.
Dope. Fucking killer.
Yup.
Obviously. So I decided to do something a little similar to back on the war episode. If you've seen that, check out that episode. For some reason, that episode kind of like blew up. It's by far our most listened to episode.
Yeah, I heard
It's
about
it's
that.
up to
It's
like
interesting.
160 listens at this point, which is
Fuck yeah,
fucking crazy. Nothing
that's
else has
cool.
even reached that. So thank you so much if you listened to that episode. Go check that out.
Thank you
But
so
if you
much.
haven't seen it, I divided my top three into three sections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I did something kind of similar to this one. And so for this first section, for my number three, I went with the revenge movie that's more of a moral revenge movie. It's a revenge on morals and a revenge on society. It's not a hack and
Mm,
slash revenge movie. It's not a just mindlessly killing, though there is some great action and killing in this movie. Um, it is all about revenge on morals and society and proving them wrong, basically. Um, and there's a lot of great instances of this type of movie. Hey guys, just a little bit right here. I couldn't really remember what I really wanted to say exactly right here, but one of the other movies I wanted to shout out in this type of category was Ip Man. When I was really close to putting on this list, I really love Ip Man with Donnie Yen. That's some of my favorite fight scenes of all time, and it's a movie that I've rewatched so many times and really fits this bill. It is really incredible, but just didn't make it for me, of course. But I had to go with a first watch for me that I watched this past weekend. It's the classic 1962 movie Harakiri. This is by Kobayashi, really famous Japanese director. This is really the movie that put him on the map. And man, this movie blew me away in its brutality and honesty alongside like its creativeness. Like it's such a beautiful movie and how it's shot, and it's just a brutal tale. It's primarily told in like story flashbacks basically. The basic plot is you see a Ronin who goes to this house of samurais of type to commit harakiri, which is seppuku, the suicide across the stomach. Um, and then while they're like kind of setting it up and getting ready for it, it's like a whole ass ceremony basically. Um, he's telling his story about who he is and why he's truly there and such like that. And it is horribly just depressing and incredibly relevant to today's standards. It's it, it's really about um, the facade of the samurai code and the senseless deaths in society, and it's so prominent to today. It's a movie that was made in 1962 that takes place in the 1630s, and it'll always be a relevant movie about the powers of um like government, and the ways that they dictate us, and the moral ambiguity of the certain stuff that they do, and the senseless deaths that happen in order for order, quote unquote, and such like that. And it's horribly depressing and horribly relevant, but it's incredibly effective at getting that message across. And it's so incredible. I highly recommend checking out Harakiri. It's my number 3 pick. It's a really, really good movie. Have you heard anything about that movie before?
No, I have
Yeah,
not.
you gotta check it out. It's killer. It really blew me away.
Who's the director though? I think I've heard of him.
Kobayashi. I can't remember his first name, but there was one line.
Sounds familiar. There's a Kobayashi that did a bunch of classic creature features that I really liked.
I don't know if it's the same one. But...
He's a Japanese director, but
yeah.
Cool.
I have one line I wanted to shout out because holy shit, when this line in the movie really summed up a lot of how I felt about it, and it's like a new favorite movie quote for me is "Who can fathom the depths of another man's heart?" Just that line right there is so incredible, and it's almost like a throwaway line in the middle of a monologue where he's finally revealing his true intentions. And
what does that mean? Or I guess what does that mean to you?
What he's talking about is so like a character in it does something that is very clearly wrong, but he gets massively punished for it. He gets killed for it. He dies for a mistake that is, yes, a well-defined mistake, and they all agree that it is not an okay thing that this guy did. But the way that the government ended up handling it is incredibly brutal and unnecessary, and they never thought to think about why he did this specific thing, because he had the stuff that you learn through these stories of just this horrible tale of how this guy has been ruined by the government and society and such like that, and how it's literally killed his family basically, and they never thought to give a shred of care at all towards him or even ask him why he was doing what he was doing. They just kill him for it. It's really reminiscent of, even though I haven't seen it yet, Time, that documentary that you said was your favorite of the year.
Time,
those people who were forced to do an act like, yes, robbing a bank isn't a good thing, but like when you understand the context of why they were literally forced to do something like that, and like why they were put in that situation, it's impossible to not feel incredible guilt and sadness towards the scenario, and they get massively punished
Definitely.
for it, by this man getting jailed for way too fucking long. And in this movie, it is that same type of thing, but he gets killed instead. And it's one of the most
Oh Jesus.
brutal death scenes I've ever seen in a movie. It's so harsh. And I really think that line just kind of encapsulates, I'll say it again, who can fathom the depths of another man's heart? It really just encapsulates that main theme and core of the movie of you can never truly understand what someone's going through, you know? Like you can have as much empathy as you want, but if you don't at least try your best to truly understand the depths of the pain that someone's going through, um, you know, you're fucked basically. You're kind of a shitter in a way. Um, and it's just such a powerful message, I think, and the movie really displays it in the most brutal and beautiful way. I think it's really incredible. There's so much to the movie. There's a lot of like really tiny little details throughout it. Some really incredible blocking, like I mentioned earlier. Um, and One Night in Miami, incredible blocking. Lots of just tiny little details. It's definitely a movie that can be dissected for years and years. It's one of those movies that is highly regarded as one of the best movies of all time. It's the third rated highest movie on Letterboxd, actually, which is kind of interesting. Um, and
Interesting.
I think it completely deserves that spot. It is a timeless piece of art that is so important and so incredible, and I loved every second of it. It's so good.
Nice.
Highly recommend Harakiri. That's my number 3 pick, though.
Cool.
You want to go on your
Good
number
pick.
2? Let's hear it.
Yes, I can. So my number 2 pick is literally called Revenge.
Ooh, okay.
This
I
is
don't know what
this
this is.
is um a French film from 2017 by Coralie Fargi, who is a director that I don't know their work
Mm-hmm.
except for this movie, but this was a movie I was recommended to
Okay.
last year when I watched the movie I Spit on Your Grave. I watched the remake
Ooh,
of it,
yeah.
the 2009 remake, and I disliked it quite a bit. And I was told to watch this movie. And Revenge essentially uses that beginning plot of I Spit on Your Grave and uses it in a less exploitative way.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and a lot like and I Spit on Your Grave. It was like a whole 45-minute scene of essentially a rape scene.
Oh.
Um, and it's just incredibly unenjoyable to watch. Revenge shows the uncomfortable abuse that this woman goes through, but it's not in a way where it's like sexualized, unlike
Mm-hmm.
it was in the other movie,
Yeah.
which it
Gross.
should never have been. It was very strange. Um, but regardless, it goes through the plot of this woman who essentially gets thrown off a cliff and is assumed dead. And I won't say too much because saying too much kind of spoils the movie. But she comes back and she's very unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know the storyline of "I Spit on Your Grave," you could probably guess what happens. But this is a really brutal, fucking incredible, beautiful revenge movie. and it's got some of my favorite like just practical effects and um like this movie was clearly made on a budget, and
Hmm.
um, I, I appreciate the fact the lengths it went to make everything look incredible for the money they had, and I thought they pulled it off really well. And this is a little this was a Shutter movie, if you know
Mm.
the streaming service
Yeah.
Shutter. This was bought by them,
Okay.
and yeah, I think you can watch it on Amazon Prime, but you have to like get a subscription or whatever.
Hmm.
But highly recommend Revenge. This was number two because it's really fucking awesome.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed it a
I
lot.
remember you texting me about that movie, and I forgot to look it up or anything. But it sounds super
Yeah,
interesting. I love that type of style of revenge movie, of course. You know,
it's it's incredible. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
right on. That's sick. I'll try and check it out for sure. Anyway, moving on, I'll go into my number two, and for my number two, I wanted to go with the twisted, morally ambiguous villain revenge movie,
Do it.
where like you really aren't sure who's in the right here. You're not really sure who's actually getting revenge on who, I guess, and it's very twisted. One that I was so close to putting in this spot was Cape Fear by Martin Scorsese. I was so close to putting that movie on this list. I love that movie. It is an incredibly underrated Martin Scorsese masterpiece, I think. It is
Cape Fear is
so,
awesome.
so good. One of Robert De Niro's best performances, absolutely. But for the
I
number
agree.
two, though, I ended up having to go with Old Boy by Park Chan Wook.
Oh,
Holy
nice.
shit, dude. Have you seen this movie?
I actually haven't.
Okay.
Funny enough, I have seen
You've seen the
the
Spike Lee
The
version?
Spike Lee joint.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'm
Um,
sorry. I've heard that one is not very
honestly,
good.
people are like shitting on it, but it's not that
Well,
bad
I'm
of a
sure it's
movie. Like
not that bad, and then you
it's
watch
shitty,
it
but it's
comparatively.
shitty. But like yeah, I'm sure comparatively to Old Boy.
It's one of those
Uh,
things that shouldn't have been remade, and it was remade like 10 years after, tops. I don't know.
hmm
It was not that late after the original came out that
right.
Spike Lee remade it. No idea why. But I'm talking about the original. And
Yep.
holy shit. Like, I don't want to give away any spoilers for this movie, as we've been saying, of course. But it's so hard to kind of dance around what like really is the core of the movie. The base plot line is a man's locked up for I think like 27 years, and then he's randomly released, and he's trying to exact revenge and find the guy who did it and why. And oh my god, the twists and turns that this movie takes and the fucked up places that this movie goes is unlike anything I've ever seen. Holy shit, dude. The entire ending of this movie, just like twist on twist on twist on twist, but it doesn't feel like overbearing or like poorly written. Like it makes sense and feels real to like the characters in the world and the situation that's built up and why these things are happening. Like they feel real and, you know, honest, I guess. I keep saying honest way too much. I need to find a new fucking vocab word, dude. But it really does to the characters that are in this world, and it's so brutal, you know. It's just an incredible revenge movie that will have you just sick to the stomach and fucking mind blown and have everything that you thought about what was going on just flipped on its head. And it's such a brutal, crazy movie. And it has quite possibly the coolest fight scene I've ever seen, period, which is the hallway fight scene. It's a one take shot where it's from the like outside of the hallway looking in, and it's this long hallway filled with like an endless round of baddie goons basically, and this our lead guy with his hammer has to work his way through it, and the way that he uses the hallway to his advantage, and like the mass horde and how he gets through it and the toll it takes on him. Like you can see how it's actually affecting him and wearing him down is so effective and just so fucking cool. It is the most impressive fight scene I've ever seen. Absolutely. And this movie had to deserve a spot on this list. I couldn't not put this movie on here. This was the one that no matter what, these other two movies, I was really thinking about, but I knew I had to put Old Boy on this list because it's so twisted and creative and really just an incredible ride. And I'm really curious to see how it holds up on a rewatch, because movies like that, they can fall quite a bit on
What
a
was,
rewatch due to like the.
what was the last time you watched it?
I've only seen it once, and I watched it back in August, I think.
Okay.
So I think it might be time. I really wanted to rewatch it to fit it in before we did this, but I felt that way with 20 other movies that I didn't get to. There's just too much shit to watch.
Mhm.
But holy shit, incredible! Please check out Old Boy. It's a part of a 3-part revenge series. Oh, I keep fucking burping. By Park Chan Wook. It's not. I don't think they're tied like story wise, just like thematic wise. But the first one is called Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and then Old Boy, and then Sympathy for Mrs. Vengeance. And I see a lot of people talking about whether Old Boy or Sympathy for Mrs. Vengeance is the better of the three, and I'm really excited to check out those other ones because Old Boy is fucking awesome. Highly recommend this movie if you have a good stomach in mind, and can work your way through it because it's pretty twisted, but it's so good. That's my number 2. That's Old Boy. Love it.
It's a good pick.
Absolutely. How about you? You're on to your number 1, baby. Favorite revenge movie?
Yeah, so my number 1, I had to think about it for a while, and I had a few options, and I gave them rewatches. And one of the rewatches I came down to deciding that was my favorite was the Coen Brothers remake of True Grit.
Oh, whoa!
Um, so True Grit is one of my favorite books. And the source material that's pulled from it, I find it so fascinating with the characters, especially with the other gangs and stuff. They explore them a little bit more in the book, with Lucky Ned and his gang. But essentially, the story revolves around uh, a girl named Maddie whose father was killed uh, by a notorious gambler called Dick Cheney, and she is out to get revenge and kill Dick Cheney, and she needs a marshal to help her. So she hires a well-known but drunken marshal, Rooster Cogburn, who is played by Jeff Bridges in this movie, and essentially she hires him to hunt down Dick Cheney, but the catch is she wants to come along with him, and Cogburn, being the stubborn old man that he is, wasn't having it, and entails a sue. Um, Other characters in this movie, the Texas Ranger, who is played by Matt Damon, is amazing in this movie. I find all of these characters to be much more fleshed out and much more interesting in the remake rather than the original John Wayne version. Um, because reading the source material, I every time I read it or like read a passage from it, I just imagine the characters from the 2010 remake, because they're just that damn impactful, and to have Haley Steinfeld as your lead as a 14-year-old
Yeah,
is incredible. And
crazy.
she pulled it off. And rewatching it, I was shocked at how amazing she was for at such a young age, and it might be my favorite performance out of her that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Like
Yep.
it's that damn good. I like she's been in some really really good hits in the last few years, but going back to True Grit, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is
Yeah.
a powerhouse.
We've talked a lot
Um,
on this podcast about child performances and really great ones and really bad ones.
yeah,
Um, and this is top tier. She is fucking
absolutely,
incredible in this movie. I'm so glad you put
absolutely.
this on your list. I was so close. It's so incredible.
Um, oh, you're gonna put this on your
I
list?
was
You were
so
thinking
close.
about it?
I was so close.
Oh, wow. I also want to shout out. Speaking of my favorite performances, Barry Pepper and Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin as Tom Chaney is so fucking cool. He's like he's such a perfect Tom Chaney, and his makeup and his hair look amazing. Barry Pepper as Lucky Ned is so sick. Barry Pepper is one of those underrated actors that I love.
Absolutely, he's great.
Um, and seeing him as Lucky Ned and this like cowboy hat and little fucking buck tooth looks
Hmm.
amazing. And then shout out Donald Gleason,
Yes,
um, being a little swarmy little Mormon.
little piece of
Um,
shit.
yeah, I love this movie. Coens are amazing. They took the source material and they fucking cared like it was their goddamn child. And they
Absolutely.
put Roger fucking Deakins in there to give it the cherry on top with amazing visuals. So
Yeah, this movie
yeah,
is
that's my number one, bro.
yeah. The True Grit is
I
top tier Cohen brothers. I absolutely love this movie. I do. I
it
gotta
really
say one
is.
thing. For the first bit while you were talking about it, you were saying
Yeah.
that it was Dick Cheney and not Tom Cheney.
Oh my God, Todd Cheney, I'm so bad. I was watching Dick Cheney on Fox News earlier today, and that's literally what I was thinking of.
Oh
That's so
god, dude.
embarrassing.
That's what I was laughing about. I'm like, Dick
Honestly though,
Cheney's the
fuck.
villain in this movie? I don't
Yo,
think I
Dick
remember
Cheney's
that.
insane, bro. Yeah.
Dick Cheney is an insane man.
Wait,
But
if only. Yeah, Dick Cheney was great. His performance was
he does a great job
incredible.
playing Josh Brolin in this movie. I
Yeah,
love
yeah, I thought so. But for real though, like Josh Brolin is an amazing Tom Cheney.
No, he is
Um,
absolutely. I love Josh Brolin so much.
but yeah,
Yeah,
that's my number
True
one.
Grit's so awesome. Right on. For my number
Yo,
one movie, I obviously, for the genre, I had to go with the classic revenge movie. The very classic, this person got wronged by this person and they got to get revenge on them, you know? Very standard, just classic type beat revenge movie. True Grit was one I really wanted to put here. And, you know, Taken was one I really wanted to put here as well. Man, I watched Taken for the first time a little bit ago. Blew me away. I loved it. This was such a hard pick. Um, and then you look at the three Tarantino revenge movies that he has. I love them all so much. Kill Bill and Django Unchained are so good. I had to go with my favorite though. I had to go with Inglorious Bastards. It's it's a
mm,
top three Tarantino for me, and it's his best revenge movie out of all the revenge movies that he's done, and it's so perfect, dude. Inglorious Bastards is that one Tarantino movie that I've easily seen the most. I've seen this movie so many fucking times, and it's just perfect every single time. I think it's just an incredibly well crafted revenge story of Shoshana against not only Christopher Walken's character, but just against the Nazis in general and Hitler. And it has quite possibly the most fulfilling revenge killings of any revenge movie I've seen. The revenge that she gets to enact and the way that she does it is in my favorite revenge killing way I've ever seen. it is so good. And this movie is fucking long. It's like 2.5 hours, almost three, and it does not skip a beat. It is fucking perfectly paced, perfectly crafted. All the characters are so interesting and are all so important and just oh, ugh, so good, dude. I love Inglorious Bastards. I was, you know, really debating. Obviously, some of those other Tarantino revenge movies, of course, some of those classics. Tarantino is a director that I have an interesting relationship with, in the sense of like I used to be absolutely obsessed with him, and I still do love most all of his movies that I've seen. Um, but they have soured on me a little bit for I honestly don't even know why. It's just the way that she
That
goes, I guess.
sucks.
Um, but like this movie
Wait, which
is so
can
good.
I ask which one soured for you?
That's the thing. It's like none of them like have soured particularly. It's more so like feeling the fatigue over it. Like I don't know. It maybe is like
Oh,
me being a classic like redditor, like oh hating on the best picture winners, shit type beat. But it's like
I thought Reddit loved fucking Tarantino.
no, I mean in the sense of like everyone likes it, so I start to dislike it less, which I hate that
Oh,
feeling, and I hate that I kind of feel that
you,
way
sh- you,
towards some
sh-
of his movies, but
you
like
shouldn't
at
feel
the
that
same
way. If
time, like I
you shouldn't
still
feel
absolutely
guilty
love them.
about something you like.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's like what I mean is like they've slightly soured, but really not much. I still absolutely love his
Damn.
movies, and Inglorious Bastards is really one of the standouts in his catalog for me. Um,
My
it's easily
my
my
thing with
favorite revenge
Tarantino,
movie.
I could understand not liking Tarantino movies. I could understand finding one thing you hate about each movie. I honestly can.
Yeah.
And I can honestly not I understand not hating Tarantino. I don't like the guy very much myself.
Hmm.
But one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie, is The Hateful Eight.
Yeah. And yeah,
And regardless of the person making it, I found it to be an incredible piece of art,
I agree.
and stage play that I found incredibly intriguing. And I find with the rest of his movies, starting with Reservoir Dogs all the way to fucking Django Unchained, I could find something to dislike about it, but all in all, I find them really all fucking enjoyable.
I agree.
And I think Tarantino is just a very charismatic director
Yeah.
that knows exactly um, how to get. He's a fucking crowd pleaser,
Hmm.
and there's a reason why people regard him as one of the best modern directors, and
Hmm.
I think he deserves that role.
I completely agree with that sentiment. Um, it's like a way of I'm just not as blown away by his movies
Hmm.
anymore. Like I still love them, but I'm not
Oh,
like,
I
whoa,
could
this is like
totally
the most
understand that.
creative, unique piece of thing I've ever seen. Of
No,
how
no,
I
no, no, no.
felt,
I could totally understand
But
that.
so
Like,
it's like I don't
I would say
dislike the
like
movies
10
any
years
less, but I'm
ago,
just not blown away as much anymore.
for
But
sure, for
you
sure. I
know,
would say like 10 years ago, Tarantino was like the best thing I've ever seen.
yeah, exactly,
Now broadening my movie knowledge more,
exactly.
Tarantino's,
Incredible,
movies
but
are still incredible, but I've seen a lot of really good shit,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
Uh,
It's just
but
hard. But
but I still regard those as amazing movies. I will never
I
not
100% agree
like
because
them.
like I said,
There's
I
not
gave
a single Tarantino movie I dislike.
yeah.
That's how good he is as a
Yeah,
director. I
I
think.
agree. Like I said, you heard me gushing over those other two movies that are below this. So it's
Mm,
obviously, I think this movie's incredible. I love Inglorious
yeah,
Bastards so much. It's an all-time favorite of mine. It has some of my just, best, most favorite revenge tropes in general in this movie, and it's also just such a creative, beautiful piece of art that
yeah.
um, I'll love forever. Inglorious Bastards is
It's got
incredible,
it's got
and
my
that's my
all
number
time
one.
favorite Brad Pitt accent in it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I don't know if you mentioned it, but shout out to Eli Roth. This is my favorite
The
performance.
one
He hasn't
good
done
thing that he's
much,
done in his life
but
and
he's
movies.
so much fun.
He's so
I mean,
perfect.
okay, say what you want about Eli Roth, but I think I think he's got some okay
I
movies.
really can't speak. I really haven't seen much anything that he has
Okay, well
done.
then
I just know
don't.
I
Yeah,
just know the history
then
behind
don't speak on it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
me
but you're not
neither.
wrong. He's a very interesting director.
Mhm.
Also, the Michael Fassbender bar scene is one of my favorite scenes
Oh,
in
for
the
sure.
last
It's so good.
11, 10 years. It's
Hmm.
incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so
and
great.
the Hans Landa, the scene with Hans Landa, the milk scene in the beginning,
Hmm.
and the cream scene
Oof,
is incredible.
so
So,
good. Not,
um,
I mean, it's not first cow levels, but it's still great. Still great. No,
I mean, shit.
no, it is
Yeah,
though.
they,
It
they
is
are
on that level.
those are both great scenes.
Yeah,
Honestly, that's funny you compared the two though.
yeah. Um,
That's a great
obviously,
comparison.
if you've heard me in the past compare them, I mean it more so as a joke, of course. But they're both two of my like favorite movies of all time. Absolutely. So, incredible. That's my fucking
Good
number one
shit.
though. Let's run back down these lists. You wanna run back down yours?
Yeah, I put for my number three, I put Ocean's 11. Number two, I put Revenge, and for my favorite revenge movie, my number one was True Grit,
Uh,
2010.
Incredible. And mine, top to bottom, I went with Harakiri, and then Old Boy by Park Chan Wook, and then Inglorious Bastards. That's my favorite revenge movies of all time. Check out all those movies if you haven't yet. Let us know what you think about them if you have. We're going to take a little short intermission break as always, and then we'll be back with our spoiler thoughts on the 2004 movie Man on Fire. Stay tuned. Hey guys, what's up? This is a little intermission. I've been trying to, record a new one for these every single week. I don't really know what to do here, honestly. I mainly just want to say thank you guys so much for listening. This episode was a lot of fun to make. It's pretty scuffed. We definitely mess up at a few points and kind of stumble on our words. Some of the audio isn't as great this episode, but it's a constant struggle to make this. It's really hard making this show, but we're just doing the best we can. So I really appreciate everyone who still listens, even though every single episode is super scuffed. We're trying to slowly get better. So I really love and appreciate you guys. Quick shout outs to Anchor, of course. Check out Anchor if you're trying to make a podcast. Free, really easy to use. Highly recommend them. Yeah, instead of the end of the episode, remember if you want to participate in next episode, if you want to hear about what the topic and review are, we'll be discussing it at the end. So stay tuned and thanks for listening, guys. Anyway, um,
You're supposed to be a good podcast host and make your own synopsis.
damn it, I'm so bad at podcasting. It's a fact. No. All right, let's fucking do this. All right, what's up, guys? We are back. We're going to be talking about the 2004 movie Man on Fire. This is directed by Tony Scott. The plot synopsis says in Mexico City, a former CIA operative swears vengeance on those who committed an unspeakable act against the family he was hired to protect. This stars
Wait,
Denzel Washington, Christopher Walken, fucking Dakota Fanning. Let's fucking talk about it, dude. You want to kick us off? Some of your thoughts on this movie?
we can go to spoilers, right?
Yeah, full spoilers. Full spoilers the entire time. Yeah, let's fucking get into this.
So I watched this. I've seen this movie before, but I didn't give it a rewatch, and I'm glad I did. Because when I remember really liking it the first time, but my second watch, I just noticed a lot of um, things maybe I don't usually appreciate in movies anymore, or stuff that I just point out to be kind of annoying. Specifically, editing choices in this movie. But for the most part, I gotta say I really fucking love Man on Fire, and I like Tony Scott as a director as well. Um, he's definitely a hit or miss director, but as an action like dialogue director with Denzel, I think he works really well. And if you've ever seen Unstoppable, that's another movie he did with Denzel Washington, which is a kind of a mid movie, but the performances fucking carry the hell out of it. and return it. It's actually pretty fun
Nice.
watch.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, slightly happens in Man on Fire, but I really enjoy directing choices for the most part. I love the scenery in this movie. I love the way it takes place in Mexico City. Um, I don't know. I just I have a lot of fun with this movie, and it's very it's very transitioning from 2004 action
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
90s action, and it's a really fun watch.
Hmm.
And
Fucking sick.
if you want to get into spoilers, we
Yeah,
can. But do
we
you want
were,
to say
but
anything on
yeah,
it?
I'll kind of do my little opening thoughts on it. Is I do agree with a lot of what you said. I do really enjoy this movie for the most part. Um, but I'm sour on a lot of shit that does happen in this movie, and I gotta say it mainly comes from editing and directing choices. It's a
Hmm.
really specific style that he goes for and employs for basically the entire movie, and it's well done, I think, um, for the most part. But it really does feel like one of those things of you like the style or you don't like it, and I it wasn't my thing, you know. I a lot of the lots of like spinning camera stuff, like fucking crazy quick cuts and
It's a
stuff like that.
very
Like I
it's a
wasn't a
very
fan.
90s in a way. Specifically, it's very like 90s indie camera style.
Hmm.
That's funny enough being used in a blockbuster 2004 movie.
Yeah,
And it's definitely a stylistic choice, and I can completely understand people not liking it
yeah, for sure.
and souring it. Yeah.
Yeah, I made a lot of notes during this movie, which I don't
Hmm.
typically do too often. Um, but it was just random stuff that I wasn't like a really huge fan on. But I want to talk about kind of the good that's really enjoyable and good in this movie before I kind of start touching on that stuff. Like you were saying, the performances I think do really carry a lot of this movie, and that's not a hindrance in any way, really. The performances are pretty unreal, especially Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning, that young Dakota Fanning, and
Very
we
impressive
we talked about
role by
child
Dakota.
actresses earlier and a lot before, and she does an incredible job in this movie. And
Hmm.
basically, how this movie's structured is the first hour is building up the character of Creasy and the daughter and the family and like their relationship basically, and then boom, daughter gets kidnapped. Whole revenge plot, which goes for the next fucking
Daughter gets kidnapped and is
yeah,
killed.
yeah. Daughter gets kidnapped and killed, is what we learn. And then it goes into the revenge of him finding these people. Is start like they had like the names for them. Like there's like the
La Hermana.
Guardians. Well, yeah, that. But I meant like the names of like the different sections. There's like the Guardian scene of him getting the information from the
Hmm.
Guardians. And then there's the scene of him getting the information from
There's
the dude where he cut his
so
fingers off. I can't remember what he called that dude,
yeah.
but they had like their own
So
roles, and I thought that was
yeah.
kind of
Okay.
interesting.
Essentially, in Mexico City, and what they've established in this movie is there's like different type of factions, and the lower factions and the lower uh people work for the essentially the biggest faction in Mexico City, which is La Armada, and essentially it's working with the police and like judges and whatnot. That's like just a big giant organized crime, and these people will do anything to
Get money, basically.
uh, fund their organization.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they choose to kidnap um, the
I
daughter
feel like
of
that's primarily what they
uh,
do of like kidnapping rich people and then like getting
yeah,
ransom money for it. That's like a big
yeah,
thing that they're known for doing.
yeah.
But
And
it's interesting. That whole idea, I think, is a really just
did you
interesting thing to
ever
think about.
watch uh Kevin Spacey got canceled, but Christopher Plummer's All the Money in the World. Did you ever watch that?
No, no, I hadn't.
They explore like that ransom and taking of like children from rich families. Pretty interesting, and it's a little bit more fleshed out in that movie. Um, and like what like actual like crime organizations do and
Hmm.
shit. Um, but I thought they did a good representation of leaving it like kind of ominous in this one. Like you couldn't really trust anybody, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
And
like that.
it
And
definitely feels very foreboding and like omniscient in a way. Like,
yeah,
like the
it's a that's the main scene where you find out that basically like the cops are in on it too, and Denzel starts quickly figuring out that some shit's about to go down.
mm,
It's that seems like really like just
I
frustrating
yeah.
and
Are you talking
really
about the like actual kidnapping scene?
yeah, the actual
Yeah,
kidnapping scene
I
that
that
seems
that is one
really
of those.
really
Yeah,
good.
that's one of those
But
times with like the really crazy editing and directing and stuff like that. That is so effective and that I loved. That scene was just absolutely perfect. I think
I
it was
agree with that.
so effective in putting you in that real hyper stressed, hyper um I guess like I'm trying to find the right word of like noticing shit, like hyper aware feeling, and the dread that he feels. It really puts you in his shoes and all the stuff that's going through his head at that moment, and you're just like praying, please don't get fucking taken away. Please don't go bad.
Mm.
I know this is about to go bad. Please keep running.
And then it goes real bad.
Yeah, please keep running,
Um,
Lupita. Please somehow kill like 7 dudes, 1v7. Like, please, I need this to work out. Um, because like my favorite parts of this movie is that first hour, um, of building up that relationship. I think is so perfect. And like obviously, I mentioned the acting between both of them, but also just like the chemistry between them was so palpable and something that felt really honest. and
Interesting.
I just thought that first act was really incredible watching the relationship build because I thought it felt
So
um real, I
that was one of the things I disliked about the
hmm,
movie. I agree with what you're saying. I actually really like the chemistry between the two leads in the very beginning, and I love um, all their scenes where they're basically bonding and
yeah,
improving their relationship with each other. I just found it incredibly unbelievable, and especially with the time that they've known each other. And I also found the scene where essentially Denzel changes his whole outlook on life because he was about to kill himself
okay,
and a
yeah,
bullet didn't go off. I found that scene to be played out
um,
a little bit
I
too dramatic than it
I
could have been,
I
and like
completely agree.
the editing in that
Yeah,
scene definitely kind of ruined that
yeah,
like
I 100%
feeling that
agree.
I feel like the director was trying to invoke from that scene, and his character change right after it felt very strange to me.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
but regardless, I love it when seeing Denzel smile and having a great time
hmm,
because I think he was so he looks so cute, like
yeah,
just smiling and
yeah,
dressing in like dad
absolutely.
drip. I don't know, it was really adorable. I
I
just didn't like the
totally
way it got there.
I totally agree with that, like, quote unquote, like, suicide scene in a way. It's so bad, I think. And, like, I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
hold on, wait, he's trying to kill himself? What the fuck? That came out of nowhere. But, like, the core idea of that scene and, like, what it's going for, and, like, her looking out the window and knowing what's going on and seeing him, and, like, that moment, I think is powerful and effective. I just wish
sure.
they did it in a different way. of instead of him killing, like trying to kill himself. I'm not really sure how you do it, but
Honestly, that's not the part that bothers me. It's just
the way
as
that
you
it's
mentioned
done
before,
is
that's
weird.
a moment where the editing bothered
Yeah,
me
I
because I
completely
felt
agree.
like it was
And there's a bunch of like
unnecessary during that
repeated
scene.
shots of like literally the exact same shot. I'm like, this is just like
It's not.
I think it's
It's
interesting when
not.
they do
Okay, maybe I should clarify. It's not that. I actually really like that editing style a lot, and it brings me back to like old '90s action movies, and I dig it. But it's not appropriate when you're trying to do a heart wrenching
yeah.
scene. The
Hmm.
editing style when it does like multiple shots of the same thing, I actually really like that a lot, and that doesn't bother me
Yeah,
that much. But I don't think it's appropriate when you're trying to do like a evoking scene like that. I think it
I think
doesn't
it
make any
works
sense.
at times and really doesn't work at times. And that's definitely one of those times it really doesn't work. But
I
there's a
mean,
lot of
I
other times where
I
I
could
know I'm gonna
agree.
disagree with you.
I could agree,
I
but
think
when you
that
full send it like he
absolutely,
does in this movie, I think
yeah,
it works.
that's fair. That's fair for sure. Yeah. But yeah, the in the whole second act when it starts to really fully set into the revenge stuff, where he's hunting down these people. He first goes after
Kills Mickey
the
Rourke.
is that Mickey Rourke? Oh my god, dude. You're right, Mickey Rourke is in this. Holy shit. I didn't even notice. You're totally right there.
Um,
But
well,
no,
not the first guy,
the
but
first guy was the yeah, I know Mickey Rourke wasn't the first guy. He's the fucking was he the
um,
lawyer or something?
I don't even know.
I think.
But
But
he,
the thing is like with so in a bottle each of these scenes, so it goes he gets the information from the first guy in the car and he's cutting off his fingers and burning the tips of them with the cigarette lighter. Um
wait. Do you not like these scenes
oh
or something? Or
hold on.
I'm trying to understand.
So like there's that, and then you get the Guardian scene where he's talking to each of them, and he shoots the guy first, and he's talking to the American dude and kind of
Mm,
torturing him. Like that's pretty good. And then you get the scene with him and Fuentes, where he puts the bomb up Fuentes' ass and blows him up, and like those kills and the idea for those scenes and like what happens, I think is really cool, like good, interesting kills that I think are kind of funny, but also just like badass in a way and fucking cool. But the thing that really makes them not effective at all for me is um, the directing and editing in those scenes. I really did not like it. It would really, I really started to get one bored of it, just constantly pulling out those techniques. Like it felt way too overplayed to me. And then in each of those scenes, like, man, I really want to like this scene, but I just cannot like get into it and enjoy it because of the editing that's going on with them. Like I want to see it more clearly, you know. I want to more clearly see what's happening. I want to feel it more effectively and like, you know, I guess it was what he's going for a specific mood and like feeling that that editing is supposed to invoke in you during those scenes, and it just
uh-huh.
doesn't evoke any of that emotion of like kind of the sporadicness and almost like brutality of it, and kind of just like the craziness of the scenario. I guess it seems like kind of why he's doing that crazy editing and such, but it didn't work for me, and it really made those scenes a lot less interesting for me, which I was sad about because I'm like, this is should be a really cool scene. Like fucking cutting off the fingers and burning it with a cigarette lighter. That is such a cool idea. That is so
Mhm.
fucking awesome. Um, and then like the bomb in the ass, so funny, so fucking funny. Um, but like I just never felt the weight of the scene that it was trying to make me feel because I was just so distracted and to a point honestly nauseated. Um Towards the end, I'm like, bro, if I took like 3 pee breaks during this movie, and if I didn't, if I just watched it all sitting down with eyes glued to the screen, I probably would have like passed out or something like that. I swear to God. Like my head started to get a little like, okay, there's a
Jeez.
lot of shit going on. Like I need to take a second. I don't know. It just is not for me, that style. And it's
Fair.
really especially not effective in those scenes. But like I said, there are scenes where it does work really well, like the kidnapping scene. Um, in some of the
Honestly,
early
I
movies, you know.
honestly, in my opinion, I think it works for all the quote unquote torture scenes.
Why do you
Uh,
like it then? Is a question I have. Like because
because
whenever you do a camera movie,
I love that I love that style of editing, and I love uh incorporated. It's a staple in a lot of
well, what I
Scott's movies. But I
what
know
I
I completely like if you don't have to like it. I
no
mean,
yeah. I what I more so mean is like, so you can like most all movies you can really like dissect and break down like what every single like camera movement means and like cut and like
sure.
why they did that and stuff like that and like the specific feelings that they're trying to evoke when they do those edits and things. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
what do you think is the purpose for doing in this movie? Because like I said, like
Usually,
it
well,
really just felt ineffective to
in
me.
Men on Fire, and what that type of setting and editing is used. Your antagonist is full of anxiety, or if the scene's just intense in general. And some of my favorite movies, it's used incredibly well. The editing style in Seven and in Fight Club,
I love
and
both of those.
especially in Saw
Yeah,
is one of my.
I love that as
They
well.
use it very well, and I no, I completely get what you're saying. That if you don't like that type of quick cutting and
The
like
thing is,
hyper
I
camera shake, I completely get it. It's just I found it. I don't know. I find it fun to watch,
no, yeah, for sure, and
and
that's it.
it's just a stylistic option that the director wanted. And you know what? I feel like if you're gonna use it, full send it, and he definitely did it in this movie, and I
Hmm.
dig it.
He definitely full
But
sends it,
I
and
completely understand not liking
yeah,
it.
I
And if it
completely
ruins the
forgot
movie
that
for you,
those
that's
three
if it
movies that you
ruins the
brought
movie
up.
for you, that sucks. But I mean, I guess I can
It doesn't
understand.
fully ruin the movie for me, like I said. But like I completely forgot that those three movies do that style a lot. Do lol. But
Hmm.
um, like I think it really works in those movies. I love all three of those so much, and I think
Yeah.
it's really effective in them. But I think maybe the point because like I didn't have an issue with it, and I actually did quite like it in like the first half of the movie, kind of. But I
This
think it just got
this is
overused.
actually
I
this is
really
one of
I think it
the
just got overused and started to feel unnecessary at so many points and just overwhelming. Like if
oh,
he like
gotcha.
toned it down a little bit more, I think it would have been a lot more effective when he did do it. You know?
You might hate Wong Tark War Tong Kai's action movies then.
I gotta be
Because
honest.
it's in
I watched the
what?
Grand Master. I only got
Uh-huh.
through like half of it, and I didn't really want to finish it.
Was it because of his editing
Yes,
style,
yes,
or
it was because it was
wow?
100% because of the editing
Okay,
style.
he does it a lot in Fallen Angels,
He does it
and
a
it's some
lot
of my
in the Mood
favorite.
for Love too, and I think it's
He
really
does. He
effective
does.
there. Um, but
It's a
I
lot
don't
more
know
subtle. It's
in
a lot
that
more subtle in the Mood for Love,
yeah
but
maybe in like the action
um,
sense I just don't like it as much because like even when they
I
employ
fucking
it in
dig
like
it.
Seven and Fight Club and like Saw, like yes those movies have like brutal scenes and like some action stuff like that, but I feel like it's not like an action like fight scene or something like that
Mm-hmm.
in those
Sure, sure,
movies.
sure.
Like it's used in a different type of way, and so when it starts to get used in a sort of actiony fighting type way, I
You,
think that might start to make me lose interest, I guess.
you know what it reminds me of, especially
Hmm.
if you ever played the old Resident Evil games,
Mm-mm.
and if you ever played Max Payne 1 and 2, even in 3 they use it a lot. It's a stylistic choice that's used in those games,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. It's so good. I don't know. But again, I can get why people don't like it, and if it's overused, I guess what you were saying, quote unquote overused. I mean, if you don't like it the first time, you won't like it.
For
The
sure.
for fifth, 10th, and 20th time in the movie. So
Absolutely.
I completely understand.
Hmm. Yeah. More nitpicks or just like random stuff I wanted to bring up.
Uh
Like
oh.
and I before I even keep going into this shit, I overall really did enjoy this movie, and the core reason is the performances and the story. I think the story is really, really fucking good, and it's really well written. Um, and those characters are just so good. It's really like the aspects that I don't like
Yeah.
really just come down to the directing and editing, but they do not ruin the movie for me, absolutely. But there are things I had issues with or things I pointed out. This kind of I made a note about this. It kind of caught me off guard. I thought it was weird. When Creasy meets the mom for the first time, um, she like they he brings up she's like she says you're an American and he's like you are too. I'm like okay, like that's kind of a normal thing to say. That's normal. And then when he
Huh?
leaves, and when he leaves, and then she's talking to her husband, and he's like that quick, and she's basically like, yeah, he's an American. I like him. I thought I thought that was a little weird. I don't know why that caught me off guard. I was like, what? Why? She? What? I don't. Why did you include that line? Like I'm pretty sure she quite
Eh.
literally said like, "Oh yeah,
Why
he
did
was
that bother
American,
you?
so I liked him."
I'm confused on why it bothered you. I'm sorry.
I just think it felt. Oh, sorry, I just banged my desk. That's probably gonna make a really loud sound in the recording. But
That's okay.
fucking, I don't know why. It just felt that feels like a strange comment to make. Like, oh, I liked this person because they were the same. They're from the same place as me. I don't know. It's not an issue. It's just a thing that I made a note of. Like that line kind of felt weird to me. I don't know why, but
I don't think it was like racist if that's what you're
yeah, no,
implying.
I don't think I'm trying to imply that either. I'm still not
Okay.
100% sure why it
Then
felt weird.
I'm
Yeah,
confused. I'm
I don't
sorry.
really know why I felt weird about it. I just did feel weird about
Okay.
that line. But
I actually, if you want, I can speak on that because that was a line that um
okay, do it.
stuck out to me too. But in the end, like I just the wife of what's his face is an American.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it makes sense that she would see another American. I'm assuming she's lived in Mexico City for quite some time, and to see another English-speaking American is probably comforting and nice, and that's why she said she likes him. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what
no,
I
I
assume.
I agree. That's why the first time when she says, "Oh, you're an American," I think it's a totally like pretty normal, like makes sense. But just like the only factor that she says to her husband about why she hired him, like the only thing she says is, "Yeah, I like him. He's American." I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels weird saying that instead of like, "Oh, I thought he seemed nice." I thought, something like that, I guess. Like, you already established that he's an American and you like him that he's an American. Why are you saying it again? This feels a weird now
Eh,
since you brought it up again.
okay. Just the
But
writing you don't like too much. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. But and then fucking random shit. Thing I didn't understand. Um, so I got it later that, or I guess maybe I didn't. I am a little bit confused about a few plot point things. Um, so they ambushed the money. They ambushed the thing like getting the money, um, so that they could get more money from it. I believe, right? Like the gang, because like
What do
Fuentes
you
was
mean?
part Fuentes, who was the cop, who was also the lead of Hermandad. He he
Fuentes was a lawyer.
no, Fuentes was the cop who got the bomb shoved up his ass. The lawyer is fucking Jordan Kalfis, Ricky Moore. Mickey Rourke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Jordan Kalfis is the
My bad.
lawyer.
My
No,
bad.
the fucking yeah, Fuentes. Um, and he alongside other cops and
Oh.
like people from Ermandad ambushed the like money thing to get more money, I guess. I just didn't understand yeah, basically I just didn't understand the reasoning for the ambush and then like fully the
So
reasoning for like why the lawyer betrayed them and such like that. Like all of those
no,
motivations
the
and
lawyer didn't portray them. So essentially, and he mentioned this. Samuel Ramos's father hired the lawyer and someone else, and essentially that he has a debt that he died with, and Samuel um,
hmm
held on to that debt,
I understood
and
that.
the lawyer set up basically this kidnapping so they could uh, I will give away to give 2.5 million to the lawyer, 2.5 million to someone else, and it was just a whole setup just to be able to pay the lawyer. Yeah,
It
that's
was
why.
only a setup to pay the lawyer.
Yes,
Okay, I did not understand that. I
and
thought
that's why, and that's why Rhoda Mitchell's character was incredibly mad at Mark Anthony, and why because he basically used his daughter as
yeah,
a middleman.
I so like I don't know. This is getting confusing. I'm even more confused about the plot of this movie the more I'm thinking about it now.
I mean, and maybe a
I
rewatch would help. Yeah, it took it when I first watched it. I didn't really understand, but I got it a lot more out of it on my second
yeah,
watch.
yeah. It's just like the stuff that so like that was the whole point of it. Um,
Yep.
so what was the whole thing with the ambush then? Because the only
What
reason
about it?
the only reason like because so if the whole reason for
So
her getting kidnapped and everything was to pay off the lawyer and such, then why did they do the
that was
ambush
the it
thing?
was a cover. It was a cover up. That ambush was a cover up so they could pay the lawyer because regardless if they were he owed the lawyer that money, and the only way they can get enough money out was to do something like that, and to pay off his debts. It's really confusing, and if you think about it, it's really stupid.
No, that's
Um,
really stupid. So like, wait, so what? So did they? So was
I
the
don't know. I'm
plan
not
to?
trying to go big brain right now,
So was
bro.
the hold
I'm
on
gonna be honest.
was the plan to never get the daughter back then? Because if the
No,
ambush and paying back the lawyer were both the whole plans the whole time, so they were never planning on getting the daughter back, and they tricked Samuel Ramos.
maybe that part's blurry. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That's definitely a good question,
man,
and
that's
it's confusing.
dude. Fuck. The more I
And
think about this
it's
movie,
too
like,
late for me to go big brain right
no,
now.
I feel
I
you.
can't think
It's
about it.
man, yeah. So yeah, those are like big things with this movie
No,
that
definitely, yeah.
like I thought I started to understand it a little bit more, but now that we're talking about it, like this movie's even more like jumbled and
Well,
poorly written than
don't
I
leave it
thought
like
maybe.
this. Don't leave like this. With try to like, if you can, find what they were trying to say in the movie because clearly they weren't saying it clearly, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, I
um,
think that's a thing. I think that's a fair criticism of the movie, though, of
no, it
it
100% is.
not very clearly defining
It's
the
like
actual
criticizing
plot.
Nolan for his sound design. It's just a plot point that doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah,
That's totally fair
and
to
yeah, that's
criticize.
definitely a thing. That
Um,
was a big thing, in the movie for me that kind of kept in the back of my mind. Like,
yeah.
why did this happen? This doesn't really make sense. And then it like almost solve it, but then make it more confusing. I'm like, what? What is happening? I don't know. It's interesting. Fucking other shit. The
Yeah,
mom
for
kept
sure.
the mom kept randomly having a southern accent. Did you notice that? Fucking especially right when she would ever start
No, I
talking about the
didn't.
Bible. She would start having
Wait,
a southern accent when she talked about the Bible, and then it would like kind of continue sometimes. Like her accent was
she is
all over the place.
she was American.
Yeah, I understand
I
that she was
mean,
American, and it's a very like she very realistically could have been from Texas or somewhere in the South, which is totally fair. So,
okay.
but it's like this is more so like a criticism of her acting. Like her accent just
Okay,
felt
gotcha.
way too inconsistent, and it actually got to the point where I noticed it multiple times.
Uh, no, I didn't know, but
Yeah,
that's
that
interesting.
was something that was uh really fucking weird. I think there are some fucking quotes that I wanted to shout out that are so good. There are some great quotes in this movie. Holy
Go
shit.
for it.
Fucking Creasy's art is death, and he's about to paint his masterpiece. Said by Christopher Walken. Fuck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a great line. And then the line from Denzel, forgiveness is between them and God. I like to arrange the meaning. Ooh, fuck yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
so
that's
cold, dude.
good.
So cold. But this this fucking other thing. There is this scene towards the end. This is the dumbest note that I made. I don't know. This is near the end, and it wasn't the shot of the dead guy in the pool, but it was a shot of another guy in a pool. I can't remember, and like
Yeah.
the water was all clear and such like that. But there was a near him. There was like a solid like hue of like yellow and brown that looked like someone like pooped and peed in the pool. And so I made a note about that.
Pretty sure that's supposed to be
I wrote
blood, but
I
yeah.
wrote pee pee poo poo pool, and like it was just by that point I'm like a little bit checked out of the movie. I'm not like fully checked out because I'm still enjoying it, and like the
Mm-hmm.
whole scene of um where they finally get the daughter back and Creasy trades his life for her, I think is a great scene. And I really did love that.
Yep.
Um, man, I don't know. I really wanted to like this movie, and I won't lie to you that I dislike it a little bit more the more I talk about it, because it was a fun time watching it for the most part. Um, but there's just so many like random little things
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like pull me out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the big thing comes down to like that directing and editing that I wasn't a fan of. But
Super
just
fair.
weird, and like I thought the movie was tonally just everywhere. Like it never really fully settled down into a tone, and like never
I thought it was
like I
pretty
thought it
clear cut
balanced it
from the
poorly.
beginning to the second half. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was from the beginning until like the halfway point as well.
I don't know.
Because like I said, I really
Uh,
do love the beginning of this movie. I thought it was incredible.
yeah.
Or
I
what
don't,
about like that weird like dialogue that would pop up sometimes? I was not a fan of
oh,
that.
I actually really like that, like
Really.
subtitles and stuff.
I
Yeah,
I
I mean, I dig that because two of my favorite action movies. Well, actually, this John Wick series uses that a lot, but the
John Wick
Raid
does use
series
it a
does
lot.
that as well.
Really.
And they're both inspired by Man on Fire subtitles. Um, and I really dig both of that. It's just an art style, and if you don't like the rest of editing and you don't like that makes sense. I
Yep.
get it. Um,
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
yeah, I don't got too much to say on it other than I enjoy this movie. I think it's a classic, and
It's a
it's one of
fun
my
ass
favorite.
movie. I did, and
Yeah,
like I've been saying,
it's
it's a fun movie.
like most of Denzel's movies, it's an amazing performance by
Yeah,
him. So
incredible performance by him. It's a fun movie that has a pretty strong emotional core that kind of anchors it down really well, I think, and it's good. I am dogging on it a lot, but overall, I do think it is a good movie. But yeah, I don't think we. Do you have any like little things you want to add before we kind of attach a rating to the sucker?
Mm, not really. I could just go with my rating if you want.
Yeah, do it. What are you gonna give this
Um,
movie?
if I had to letter grade it, this is a solid B plus for me. Um, I guess I don't know. I don't know how we rate it. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah. What would that be if you put it on Letterboxd? Well, like a 3.5, 4?
Um, that's like a solid 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I I was feeling a pretty strong 3.5 as well. Um,
Hmm.
but kind of the more we talked about it, I think I am leaning more towards the 3 stars. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, three stars out of 5, like a 6 out of
That's a B
10.
minus.
It's definitely a pretty strong movie. Has some really good parts in it, but
Gotcha.
not just not fully my thing, and that's okay. It's still fun. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Mom. I know it's your favorite revenge movie of all time. I'm sorry. My dad loves Tony Scott as well. Oh fuck. They're gonna give me shit when this episode airs. That's okay. Anyway, that's going to be the review of the 2004 movie Man on Fire. That's all of our thoughts on it. Check out the movie, form your own opinion about it, and let us know. But we're going to go into the listener comments section, of course. Every week is open to DM us if you want to respond to the topic and or review of the week. And so, obviously, here we go. My friend Morgan Flogger wrote in this week, so shout out Morgan. Thanks for writing in. She's a big fan of revenge movies, and her top 3, she said, are Terminal, The Italian Job, and Kill Bill. And so this is a pretty interesting
Oh.
list. And she specified The Italian Job, the remake.
Yeah, the remake's
Um,
definitely the better
and
of the two.
I haven't seen either, but have you?
Oh, they're fun. If you like oceans, you'll like Italian Job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems fun. The original has Michael Caine in it, and then the remake has Donald
Mark.
Sutherland and Marky Mark. So
Yeah.
sounds pretty fucking solid to me. It sounds just like a pretty fun revenge movie. And then Kill Bill, of course, we talked about. It was so close to being on my list. I consider those one
Kill Bill's
movie, Kill
excellent.
Bill 1 and 2. And it's an
Kill Bill's so
incredible thing.
influential
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
many movies to come forth
I
with it,
love Kill
and
Bill so much.
it was almost on my list as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
And then her number 1 pick, Terminal, is a pretty interesting pick. I talked about this a little bit with Nick. This movie came out in 2018, I believe. I'm checking real quick. Yeah, 2018. It stars Margot
Mhm.
Robbie, Simon Pegg, and Mike Myers. It's a pretty interesting movie. So when she sent me this list, and I'd never heard of this movie, it's got a pretty great cast, and so I thought I'd definitely check it out. It's on Hulu, I believe. And I know Morgan was expressing her love big time for this movie. She really loves it. Has rewatched it many times, and I can definitely see why someone would love this movie. It has a really
Have you seen it?
unique, interesting style. Yeah, so it's got this really
Oh, okay.
interesting, just like very hyper neon, neo noir type beat movie with like the streets all that way, and it's visually a really really beautiful movie, and I think that was
Cool.
enough to really captivate me throughout alongside some of these performances. And one, like, my favorite part of the movie is Margot Robbie and Simon Pegg, and like those characters and their arc and relationship is really effective and really good. And I that was by far my favorite part of the movie. But then I do think it kind of started to spiral a little bit into just super obvious tropes that really
Okay.
didn't feel super effective because they felt so obvious that they were gonna go that route. But like,
Um,
I mean, with that, and there's a lot of faults in this movie. People on Letterboxd fucking hate this movie, dude. People
I
hate this
don't.
movie on Letterboxd.
Who?
Which
Do you
obviously,
care what people have to say
no,
on Letterboxd?
not at all.
I
I
cause
just like
like
reading it.
it,
I just like reading it.
Letterboxd is such a terrible hybrid for the most part.
Absolutely. I just like reading it. Yeah. But
It's worse than IMDb when it comes to reviews.
that's a fucking take. I don't know if I agree with that. That's
Yeah,
insane.
no, IMDb user reviews are
IMDb is
garbage,
bad.
but Letterboxd is worse in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's just
It's
because I used to use IMDb all the time, but
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's for another day.
for sure.
That's for
But
another day.
it's a fun movie though. I really enjoyed myself throughout it, and it kept me captivated and interested the full 95 minutes. It's a pretty tight movie. Yeah, I'm really glad that Morgan sent me this movie and recommended it. So it was a really fun watch, and I definitely do recommend it if you're in the mood for just a neon soaked classic revenge thriller movie. Like it's fun, and some
Cool.
pretty hammy, fun
Good
performances in it as
shit.
well. So thanks for DMing and response, Morgan. And then other person was of course my mom, because I have this movie dedicated specific or this episode for her birthday that's coming up again on the 24th. And so she sent me her favorite revenge movies, of course, that I thought I had pulled up, but I'm just a dumbass, I guess. How did I not have this pulled up? Oh god. This
Unprepared.
is super embarrassing. Nick's supposed to be the one that's unprepared. Damn it. Okay, I got it. Her top three revenge movies are Man on Fire, Payback, and John Wick. Which is stellar, obviously. I do really enjoy Man on Fire, and John Wick is fucking awesome. I'm a big fan of John Wick 1 and 2. Embarrassed to say, I still haven't seen the third one, which I've heard is really great.
Wait, you haven't seen the third John Wick?
I know, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing, but
I love
it
1
might be
and
the
2.
best. It might be the
Yeah,
best one.
exactly. I
I
need
think
to see
two's
it.
just okay.
I think they're.
I like that. I like that Sorry,
No,
that
you.
payback. On
So
there.
I haven't seen Payback. You want to speak on that for a second? Like that's the Mel Gibson
Uh,
movie, right?
it's a Mel Gibson movie. Uh, it's like a heist movie. It's like the end of like the result of a heist movie. I can't speak too much on it.
Mm-hmm.
But um, I just remember seeing a little bit of it a while back.
This is kind of weird. I don't know how I got to this, but so I wanted to watch Payback this last weekend because a lot of people do have it as their favorite revenge movie as well. So I'm like, yeah, I should watch this
Uh-huh.
one. And so I looked it up on Amazon. It said it was the 1999 one with fucking Mel Gibson. I'm like, okay, I hit play, and I'm like 20 minutes into this movie, and it's fucking garbage. Like horrible.
Uh-huh.
And Mel Gibson still hasn't showed up. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
what is this? So I turned it off because I was so bored and hated it. But I'm like, there's no way this is Payback. So I don't know what happened with Amazon when I hit play on that movie, but I don't think that was Payback because like even looking up, like I can't
Weird.
those characters that I saw in it, I can't find in the description for this movie, and it sounds nothing like the movie I was watching. So I have no idea what happened right there. But whatever movie I was watching was fucking horrible. It was so bad.
That's weird.
But maybe I'll check out Payback eventually. It sounds good. But
Sure,
obviously,
okay.
I love you, Mom. Thanks for writing again. Appreciate it. Appreciate the lists. But yeah, that's gonna fucking wrap up that. Hey guys, so I had to record this after because me and Nick forgot to talk about it beforehand, but we finally did after the episode ended. And so if you want to DM in your responses for next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, it's going to be the first week of February, and so we're going to be talking about romantic movies. So we're going to be talking about our top 3 romantic movies, whether that's rom-coms or anything, whatever fits that bill. And then we're going to be doing a review on The Notebook. So if you want to participate in that, DM us in. Thanks. Yeah. So that's going to be this episode, though, guys. Check us out on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. You can see the Closet Quickies on my YouTube channel as well. Hopefully have a music video I might be filming soon. I don't know. But, I love and appreciate all you guys for checking out the podcast. It really does mean so much. Share it, like, dislike it, comment. I don't know what the fuck. You know where to find us, though. Everything will be in the description, as per always. You can find me personally on Letterboxd, Twitter, and Instagram at JacobNestor568. And then you can find the podcast at In the Closet WJN on Instagram or Twitter. Where can they find you, Nick?
Nick_sailing everything. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Nice. We're
Have a
fucking
good
ending
one.
this. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time. See ya.
Peace.